Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Going to cover all of the top stories and do a little review even from stories in recent days because I'm getting requests to cover stories that we have covered. Again, a lot of people don't get notifications. But of course, the supposed arrest of the supposed assassin of the United Healthcare CEO, we were saying from day one, the assassination was of a CEO of a 47-year-old company, United Healthcare, at the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel that also has 47 suites in it, which is the same hotel Trump was in for the 2016 selection. And of course, Donald Trump is Mr. 47, and now he's been elected the 47th president. And that assassination was also supposed assassination. Again, it's important to use the word supposed because there's no proof anything happened. All the media delivers day after day is fake news. And we've been saying that since way before Puppet Trump came along, still in our phrase. But again, that supposed assassination was 47 days before Inauguration Day. You got to wonder about the word delay being written on the bullet. But anyhow, we were on this from the beginning that this looked like it was related to the election. You know, Trump's appointed RFK Jr. to be the Ministry of Health leader. And of course, his family's no stranger to assassinations. And Trump had several assassination scares reportedly. They were all HOAXESs. And of course, they were synced up with the Kennedy family, as we covered all along. And as we called it out the day that RFK Jr. filed his paperwork to run on 4/5/2023. We're going to bring it all together. But again, just these parallels we saw to Trump. Now, where does the supposed shooter get arrested? At Donald Trump's favorite restaurant in Pennsylvania? At a McDonald's in Pennsylvania after Trump just served French fries in McDonald's. Remember how we told you that day how McDonald was going to get a sack in Sunday Night Football in the Steelers-Jets game? Perfectly synced with Trump. Just an absolute perfect ritual. Remember, Trump served French fries at a Philadelphia, near Philadelphia McDonald's location, and then he traveled over to Pittsburgh for Sunday Night Football, and they had a McDonald on the field, and we said, oh, he's a lock for a sack tonight, and he had a sack. He sure did. He had a Big Mac sack because it is this scripted. Again, Manchurian athletes, Manchurian candidates, people got to wake up to what's going on in this nation, just how sick and planned out the jokes are. Because this is Major League Comedy, and we're paying billions of dollars for it as taxpayers, and most people aren't even getting the jokes. These are the federal government, the news. They are the most overpaid comedians in the history of humanity. But yeah, again, arrested at a Pennsylvania McDonald's. And of course, you know, Trump had the assassination scare in Butler outside of Pittsburgh. But yeah, we're going to really bring this together. If you think all of that's just like, oh, you're just trying to connect things like one of those red threads in a comedy spoof on TV. A lot of you dopes don't even get why they show you that red thread. The red thread is a symbol in Kabbalah, the red thread that connects all things. And the people who do run this world in the news media, they are into Kabbalah. And they like to put the truth in comedies and cartoons. So you go, oh, that's just TV stuff. Aren't you getting all this information through your TV? Were any of you there in the flesh to see the CEO assassination, or did you get it through your TV? Yeah, trust me, there's no difference between the nightly news and the cartoons and the soap operas and all that, other than the nightly news is even more fake. That's the difference. So anyway, we're going to really put this Luigi story to bed. Where's Mario? We're going to recover the Daniel Penny thing. Daniel Penny and Neely synced up with George Floyd getting kneeled on. The ritual is just so obvious. We're going to talk about Juan Soto being the highest paid baseball player of all time as the Mets sweep him from the Yankees. We're going to talk again about the Franklin fire. I just put up a short video on this. More obvious arson. Even more obvious than what they did at Notre Dame. We'll retouch on the Jay-Z thing because people are asking me to cover the Jay-Z thing, even though we've touched on it on 3 videos since the news broke Sunday. And we'll retouch on the Assad thing as well because a lot of people seemingly didn't watch that video. Again, all of these things point in the same direction, and that'll be the point of recapping all this just to see how redundant the patterns are. But okay. Luigi Mangione. Just notice how his name in Gematria equates to United Healthcare. I mean, you could say, okay, maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe that's a coincidence. That's going to be the weakest point I make in this whole presentation. But again, if you're new here, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. What's annoying too is just like the average American's under so much mind control that they all have the same, false thoughts running through their head. The average American instantly dismisses this information. And why is that? Because they learned in their 13 years of slave school, pledging to 13 stripes, that things like numerology are old world tradition and don't matter. Well, here's the news. All this old world tradition is what the cabal's into, and they use it every single day. And that's part of the reason they indoctrinated you in 13 years of slave school, because they knew if they trained your mind, you would never see what was right in front of your face, like the numerology rituals that go on every single day. And for the record, his surname alone, Mangione, equates to 42, like how he was arrested 42 days before Inauguration Day in the 42 city. Words like Freemason and Jesuit equal 42. Of course, the Jesuits set up camp in D.C. They made it the Masonic city. But yeah, again, just the 47-year-old company gets its CEO assassinated is the story at the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel that has 47 suites 47 days before the inauguration of number 47. And now he's arrested at a McDonald's that might very well be the one that Trump served French fries at. Okay, it's actually a different one. It's in Altoona, almost sounds like cartoon. Altoona, Pennsylvania. The whole United States last night was watching their rigged football games. Congrats to the winners. We torched it again, where they made it into a Simpsons cartoon. A part of me is like, the Simpsons, all the predictive programming with Trump. Altoona. They got a picture of him with a Disney Lion King new movie, Happy Meal. Disney Plus was doing the cartoon thing with Monday Night Football last night, turning them into Simpsons characters. But they had to tell you the shooter was 26 years old. Remember, it was the 26th of July that Trump announced he'd be returning to Butler, Pennsylvania. And that was 13 days after July 13th, the day of the big old hoax under the 13 stripes, 13 weeks from the anniversary of the establishment of the Secret Service, which was the same day in history that Lincoln was shot in a theater when Donald Trump's a Hollywood actor like Ronald Reagan, who also ran on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And again, I'll be like, oh, that's not the MAGA he's running on. Didn't you hear me? He said MAGA just simply means make America great again. Yeah, okay. Go back to when Obama joked that he'd be the 45th president on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan, 45 days before Trump's own birthday. That was April 30th, 2011 at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Go back. And let's not forget also that right before that joke, Obama did the joke with the Lion King, showing that he was Simba and he was actually born in Africa to appease the people who were behind Trump's birther argument. Birther equals 44, like Simba, like Obama was number 44, like how Trump was the 44th person to become president of the United States because of Grover Cleveland's split term, which messed up the count. And of course, in this recent shooting, they said it happened at 44 minutes after the hour. And then they get the shooter one day after the 44th anniversary of John Lennon's assassination. But yeah, remember, Trump's 78 years old. We've been talking about this for years. The significance of him coming back at age 78. Altoona equals 78. In that same cipher, Kennedy equals 78. Again, Kennedy's the head of the health department, the family with the Kennedy curse, the assassinations. But remember, Butler's also 78. Trump retakes office at age 78. The top cards in the tarot deck are Trump cards. There's 78 cards in a tarot deck. Getting Gematria, tarot cards equals 119. And Trump will be taking office with the 119th Congress. Like how in 2016, the election was called for him on November 9th. But yeah, Jesuit also 78, and that's who's running the show. Scottish Rite also equates to 78. The rites of the Scottish Rite were written by Jesuit priests, Trump's of Scottish ancestry. Again, the Scottish Rite HQ's in D.C. But if you're new here, this practice coding numbers into words. It's the alphabetic order. It's the alphabetic order in reverse, and it's both orders with numerology. It's elementary. Very simple. You could teach this to a second grader, no problem. And just for the record, where he was arrested, Altoona, Pennsylvania. Look at the overlap with Altoona, Pennsylvania and Butler, Pennsylvania. The exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. And making matters even more interesting, from the hoax on July 13th to the hoax on December 4th. And again, I think it's fair to call them hoaxes. You could argue that I don't have all the proof, but it's a lot more obvious that it was a lot closer to a hoax, because you don't have any proof that any of this stuff happened. You have Trump dodging a bullet and then them syncing up the Dodgers World Series with it. Like the same kind of stuff that goes on every year that we've been documenting for a decade. Again, for people who aren't up to speed on that one, from the hoax to the Dodgers winning the World Series was 109 days later. And the Dodgers got their 109th win of the season. And in Gematria, Los Angeles equals 109. So does Yankees. So does shooting. And it matters because 3 of the times that the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the World Series was in 63, the year of the JFK assassination, 81, the year Reagan got shot, and 2024, the year that Trump supposedly got shot. And this 144 days later, remember, we said the day that RFK Jr. filed his paperwork on April 5th, 2023, we said that foreshadowed the Trump assassination stories to come. Number 45, he filed his paperwork on 4/5, but the day that RFK filed it was 144 days after the leader of the Jesuits' birthday, Arturo Sosa, born November 12th. Again, RFK supposedly lost his father at 1:44 in the morning, 144 on June 6th, 1968. Remember, Robert Kennedy equals 66, like Sirhan. And he lost his uncle, JFK, 144 days from meeting with the Pope. And Ambassador Hotel and Dealey Plaza both equate to 54. Look at Jesuit order and Kennedy curse, 144-54. Again, United Healthcare, the United States of America's Department of Health, now going to be held by a Kennedy. And again, Kennedy is 78 in the same cipher as Altoona and Butler. And remember, the supposed assassination hoax was of the CEO was 322 days after RFK Jr.'s birthday. Of course, 322 is the number of skull and bones, a.k.a. the Brotherhood of Death. And Brotherhood of Death literally equals Brian Thompson, which is 187, the homicide code, like Rockefeller equals 187. And they spread all that fear that day as they lit the Christmas tree. But anyway, that's how these psyops work. They're all timed and coordinated and strategically planned to maximize impact. Oh, New York's going to have an extra big police presence for the lighting of the Rockefeller Christmas tree, and that police presence that's grown tremendously since the Rockefeller Towers came down on September 11, 2001. If you don't know, the Rockefellers are behind the World Trade Center project. But yeah, don't forget, this shooting was on 54th Street, the supposed CEO. Again, the Jesuit headquarters at the Church of the Jesuit, Building 54. Okay, now, in light of all the 47s with the assassination, again, 47 days from Inauguration Day at the 47-story Midtown Hilton with 47 suites, where Trump was Mr. 47 in 2016, this nation's birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month, right? We call it the 4th of July. We even get that 4-7 sequence going. And again, you look into the Masons, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Modern Freemasonry, they studied the 47th problem of Euclid. 47th problem of Euclid. So just notice, from the nation's birthday to the arrest of the man at the McDonald's was 158 days later. And remember, McDonald's, Burger King, hamburgers, Freemasonry, they all equate to 158. And again, if you haven't gotten your food handler's permit in a while, maybe just go take the test. It's inexpensive, just for your own knowledge base. If you were around my age, I'm 41 now. You might remember being a teenager getting a fast food job, and the answer for how high you had to cook the hamburger, it used to be 160 degrees. Do you know what the answer is now in 2024? And it changed in recent years. The new answer for how hot you must cook the hamburger to, do you want to guess what the new temperature is? It's not what it was back, if you grew up in the 90s, 80s like I did. The new temperature, it's not 160 anymore. you got to cook the hamburger to 158 degrees. Okay. And who do you think's behind these jokes? Do you think it could be the Masons where they etch on the temple all his number? And do you remember what they did to Morgan Spurlock, who went after Donald Trump's favorite restaurant? Remember how he died earlier this year? And it was the news on the 144th day of the year? Yeah. Morgan Spurlock dead on the 144th day of the year and dead 158 days from the Pope's birthday. Yeah, we covered all that at the beginning of the year. Now, how perfectly synced it was with Trump, and that was before all these McDonald's shenanigans and him serving French fries by the numbers. Remember, French fries equals 60. He did that on Kamala's 60th birthday, right before the 60th selection. Again, a nation where corporations are more powerful than the politicians. Corporations like McDonald's that literally run this nation because everyone's shoveling in their money every day in their drive-through lines. Too lazy to make a better meal at home. Just give my money to McDonald's, overpriced McDonald's, so they can have more control over my life in agriculture. They can have it so that all big federal government spending on agriculture is to produce corn syrup, French fries, and milkshakes. But yeah, 158 days after the nation's birthday. God bless America. They got the shooter at McDonald's. You know, and by the way, don't forget, you guys, the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, is the day leaving. Actually, that date can be written 15/8. I'll leave the rest of it alone. But again, the Jesuit order's birthday can be written 15/8. Here, just in case you forgot what they did to old Morgan Spurlock, who did Supersize Me. He died at 53, which means he died in his 54th year of life on the 144th day of the year. He died on May 23rd, which in the leap year is the 144th day of the year. Over the years, we've covered the many rituals they've done with Donald Trump in 523. Again, there is something known as satanic gematria. Again, in the cipher of satanic gematria, the phrase satanic gematria equals 666, and 666 is the 36th triangular number. And that's how satanic gematria works. Instead of starting with A is 1, you just start with A is 36, and you count all the way up to Z is 61. But there's been plenty of Trump 523 business over the years. And again, this guy runs on the highest degree of the Church of Satan, so why wouldn't his name be important in the satanic cipher? But this was all a lead up to what was coming this year. And notice, from the leader of the Jesuits' birthday to the death being announced, the death was announced one day after his death on May 24th, which is typically the 144th day of the year. That's the day Trump was at the Vatican back in 2017 after he became president. So this news broke on the anniversary of Trump being at the Vatican. But the news broke on the 195th day of the Superior General's age. Morgan Spurlock's 195. The founder of McDonald's, or, well, not exactly the founder, but the guy who took it over and made it the McDonald's that we know, Ray Kroc, who got killed in a big 187 ritual back in 1984 when Reagan was in office. And then that year, his Padres made it to the World Series and lost to the Tigers. Anyway, his name, Raymond Albert Kroc, also 195. And you know what? The assassination hoax ended up being this year on the 195th day of the leap year, not long after this. And remember, Robert Kennedy equals 195, like Boston Celtics. And we bring that up because the Boston Celtics birthday is the day that RFK died in history. And we predicted that the Celtics would start this year 19-5, and they did. Congrats to the winners. But, and remember, the current president, Joe Biden, his Secret Service name is Celtic, and we all know what happened to John Havlicek on the day that Joe Biden announced he was running for president. Of course, he died 17 days after his own birthday, like Biden was born on the 17th birthday of RFK. But anyway, this is all starting to make more sense just looking back. It's all starting to make more sense, how they're bringing it all together. M is the 13th letter, Trump under the 13 stripes on the 13th. 13 weeks from the anniversary of the Secret Service. Perfect photo op. The huddle of shorter Secret Service employees all pause. So you get a nice shot of Trump above his shoulders with his fist pumped under the 13 stripes. All the dopes and all the fakes and all the CIA assets, the Joe Rogans of the world, the Tim Pools, all online telling everybody this is one of the greatest American moments. It's one of the most iconic American moments. That's the sign of real leadership over there. Compare that to what the Democrats are offering with Sleepy Joe. It's like you can't see how this whole portrait's being painted for you all the time so that you can go like, oh, yeah, I want that, not Sleepy Joe. Look at that. He's old too, but he's out there pumping his fist with the fake blood running down his face like he Got a tactic out of the WWE where he hosted so many WrestleManias. Yeah, there was a lot more to this too, but let's skip down to the Pope part right here. Again, we were making the point about Freemasonry and McDonald's and hamburgers. And again, from the Pope's birthday to Morgan Spurlock's death, 158 days. Documentaries even 158, like he did the documentary on McDonald's, Super Size Me, about how bad it is for you. And again, that's part of the joke too, right? This guy that's assassinating healthcare insurance company CEOs, he's eating at McDonald's. Like, oh, I thought this guy was like on some Robin Hood type stuff. Like, I'm taking from the rich to give back to the poor, to put some knowledge out there, get some vengeance. But then he's caught at a McDonald's. Like, oh, okay, he's gonna end up a fat slob too, paying big premiums. All this stuff is just made for TV mockery, made for the Confederacy of dunces. Also, you guys, again, the 4-base ciphers. You do it the small way. McDonald's is 50. From Trump serving McDonald's at a Pennsylvania McDonald's to this guy getting arrested at a Pennsylvania McDonald's was 50 days later. 50 days later. 50 days. Not an arbitrary number in America. McDonald's made America. Again, Donald, Lion, America, they're all 50. Again, here he is posing with the Lion King. It just how they just manufacture all this stuff. Again, so I've always said it's so obvious that this is a fascist nation where the corporations and the government work together. And so often they'll tuck in a corporation. It's almost like free marketing for a mass shooting, and McDonald's has participated in the mass shooting by the numbers. Again, you guys want to go back to the 1984 San Ysidro massacre at McDonald's? That was on 18/7. 187 days from the death of Ray Kroc. And let's not forget the CEO who's killed, Brian Thompson, 187. Society of Jesus, 187. Brotherhood of Death, 187. Washington, D.C., 187. George Washington, 187. Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 187. Trump's convention in Cleveland in 2016 began on the anniversary of the San Ysidro massacre, 187 days from Inauguration Day. From Trump's birthday to the Pope's birthday, the first Jesuit Pope, 187 days, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, this Lion King movie, man. Remember what they did to James Earl Jones earlier this year, who was the original Mufasa? Again, his death perfectly synced with the release of this movie. They've been syncing up the Lion season with this movie. Beyonce did the big soundtrack for that last Lion King movie that came out. And now their daughter, Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter's in the Lion King movie, and she's about to turn 13. And now Jay-Z all of a sudden is accused of raping a 13-year-old days before the movie comes out. That was December 8th. The movie comes out December 20th, so that'd be 12 days later, or a span of 13 days, wouldn't it? A span of 13 days from the Jay-Z accusation to the new Lion King movie coming out, as his daughter's about to turn 13. Emma's the 13th letter. In the land of 13 stripes and 13 colonies, where people can't see through Trump posing under the 13 stripes on the 13th. Like, oh man, that is an American badass right there. And again, how would these same people react if they saw what went down there in the dog pile with the Secret Service agents, where they either got out the small razor blade and did the WWE trick where you nick the ear because the ear bleeds so much, or they did the squib pack like they do in Hollywood, where Donald Trump's performed in numerous times? How would the American people react if they saw the behind-the-scenes footage? And it's probably out there somewhere. Don't kid yourself. Probably release it in like 2084. I'd be like, oh, that's got to be doctored. That's a deep fake. The Donald Trump hoax files they'll be playing on TV. And people are like, oh, that's just for network rating. That's not true. They made that up all these years later. My granddaddy told me he was the greatest president there ever was. And you know another 50 word is circle? Remember the big song from the first Lion King movie back in 94? Elton John, The Circle of Life. Elton John, who recently, well, over 20 years ago now, but sang with Eminem and did Stan and sang about, how he can't see anymore. How's the chorus go? Can't see the light. To go back and look at the lyrics. But Elton John sang that chorus that Dido normally sings. And now at the same time that Eminem's mom's dead at 69 days before the Super Bowl when he's Mr. Detroit Lions and Lions, the plural 69, all of a sudden Elton John saying he's going blind. I mean, come on, man. This is all major league ritualism. Now, another point I have to make is we did talk about how this came 158 days after the nation's birthday, right? That means it's also the 159th day of the nation's age. And that's noteworthy because remember, Donald Trump equals 159, like Scottish Rite. And the Secret Service was created 159 years ago, the same day that Lincoln was shot on 14/4, like 144. And don't forget, this year's rig selection was 144 days after Trump's birthday. Jesuit educated at Fordham. Jesuit Order 144. But then Trump had the hoax where supposedly the Secret Service saved him on the 15th day of the 9th month at the golf course. And golf equals 68, like Donald John Trump, like 68. And it was 68 days before the JFK assassination anniversary. And RFK got smoked in 68, just like MLK. But yeah, 159th day of the nation's age. He just happens to show up at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. And again, I mean, how did he escape in the first place? The entire city of New York's covered in cameras and police. There's police and cameras everywhere in New York. How would he have ever escaped? And then just all the dumb little stories unfold. Oh, but man, he seemed so good. He held the gun so perfectly. His posture was just right. He evaded all the cameras and police. This guy is a one-of-a-kind assassin, better than what you've ever seen in the movies. But then, oh, wait a minute. Then he was flirting with the hostel worker. Then, whoops, he left evidence behind. Oh, he left his backpack over here. And then he was posing at McDonald's, taking Happy Meal shots with a big happy face. I mean, come on, man. Again, Gematria, you got to run the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. From the latest hoax on 15/9 to the arrest was 85 days later at the McDonald's. I remember the Jesuit motto, "Vi sus hominum salvator's" 85. The Jesuits and the Masons, lots in common. Secret societies that operate in the federal city. I read a lot of stuff about this guy, but if I could just boil it down to one thing I read about him, I think it's all said right here. Mangione, and by the way, people have pointed out that the famous Mangione in history is a trumpeter, famous trumpet musician. If you type in the surname Mangione, that's what's going to come up besides this story, the man who played the trumpet. And you know what else I read about that Mangione trumpeter? He had a big song that was a top song of the year in 78. Mangione, the trumpeter, top song in 78. Here, I think it's Chuck Mangione. Look at this. And let's just pull it up real quick. Because Altoona's 78. Right here. Right here at the top of his Wikipedia. He came to prominence as a member of Art Blakey's band in the 60s. And later, it wasn't when JFK was getting assassinated, was it? And later co-led the Jazz Brothers with his brother Gap. He achieved international success in 1978. I mean, come on, man. You know that's part of the joke here. The trumpeter with the 78 connection. But coming back to this, Mangione himself, however, grew up in a wealthy Baltimore family. Something going on with the Pelosi's that made it big in business. The suspect's grandfather, Nicholas Mangione, a former masonry contractor who told the Baltimore Sun he started working at age 11. Oh, man. I relate with that, man. My parents had me working even earlier than that. If my bio was out there, it'd be like, what? When did we start cleaning houses in the summer, Mom? Was it age 6? We were scrubbing down cigarette-covered walls at the manor all summer, man. That's why I learned to not smoke cigarettes, man. Nicotine on walls is nasty and hard to clean. Anyway, who told the Baltimore Sun he started working at age 11. built a local real estate empire that included nursing home facilities around Maryland and 2 country clubs in the Baltimore suburbs. Okay, how about the 11 reference, guys? You like the 11 reference? Technically, his arrest was 11 days before the new Lion King comes out. 11 over in Syria. The rebellion lasted 11 days. Remember when Afghanistan's government collapsed on the Jesuit order's birthday, and then after 11 days, there was another big tragedy? It's always the 11. Master number in numerology. Again, the Masons are into Kabbalah. Kabbalah's in numerology. And then you present this to dopes, and they're like, so what? Like, you think numerology is important? It's like, do you like, do your ears only have wax in them? Did anything make it into your brain? This isn't about what I'm into. It's about what they're into. And if you had observation skills, pattern recognition, you'd see these people are doing the same thing every single day. Again, what's in my background? What is 47? How many years has that been behind me? And I can't even remember how many years it's been behind me, but it's been a lot. And we've been talking about what is 47 way before somebody sent me that in the mail to make the point as a background drop. I mean, we've been saying what is 47 I've been saying what is 47 since before I even knew Gematria, you know? I just know it's 47 this, 47 that. Insert a 47 here. What's that 47 about? Did they really need to put that detail about 47 in this story? Again, you pay attention. 47 is in the news all the time. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. All these words equal 47. News, authority. And isn't that the spell everybody's under? The spell of authority. They're like under the spell of 47. I only get my news from the authorities. Oh, yeah, the ones that are taxing you, lying to you, controlling you, telling you how to live your life. Yeah, okay. Let's go through it again. News, authority, government, Christian. Isn't that the religion that taught you how to be a good slave? Isn't that all in there? Be a good slave, obey your masters, give Caesar what's his. Caesar equals 47, like president, like White House. Like Republican, like Democrat, like the letters DC themselves. That this 40s, I mean, that's why we were all over it from the beginning. We're like, 47-year-old company. But by the way, somebody told me that they figured out that this guy was appointed CEO April 7th, 2021. Now, they wrote that, and I was trying to verify that. If anyone can verify that Brian Thompson did become the CEO we know it was April of 2021. We know that's true. Was it really April 7th? It wouldn't surprise me. It would be, just fit again. 47-year-old company, 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel, 47 suites in the Midtown Hilton, 47 days before Inauguration Day for the 47th president who's not too healthy, who likes to promote McDonald's and other junk food. Okay. But here's the other big piece of this story. And what I'm wondering is if the government's going to try to outlaw 3D printers. I mean, it would only be par for the course. They're always moving against freedom, rights, and liberties. But again, if you haven't heard the detail, they said the shooter had a 3D printed ghost gun and 3D printed silencer. Okay. Or I could see something else that they might do if they don't outlaw 3D printers. They might make it so that it has to be like connected to some kind of database, some internet database where you're constantly uploading what you're making in there as they build the surveillance state. That's another way they could go about it, but I could see it being this way in the future. Again, clever people will always figure out how to get around these things, or just, people who have balls will be like, F you government, I'm not complying with your tyranny. But anyway, just look at the overlap with Ghost Gun in New York and also Altoona, right? Ghost Gun in New York are 111, 39, 33 in the base ciphers. New York's got the 78 as well, which we talked about earlier. But New York, 111, 39, 33. Altoona obviously has the 78, but also has the 111 and 39. So, again, what are the odds? All these things that work out so perfectly. And then shout out to King Richard. He caught the 201 in this story. They're saying that the suspect was influenced by the Unabomber. You want to guess how many weeks it's been since the Unabomber died, you guys? You want to guess? Here, I'll scroll way up for while you think about it. How many weeks has it been since the Unabomber died? He was influenced by the Unabomber, they say, as he gets arrested in Altoona. All right, here, I'm putting a big clue out there for anyone trying to find their answer. All right, one guess. How many weeks has it been since the Unabomber died? Yes, the answer is 78. And here's the other one. What's the highest calling card of the Jesuits? 201. And how many days after Ted Kaczynski's birthday anniversary was it that this guy was arrested, supposedly influenced by him? 201 days. And in light of this pointing to Inauguration Day, remember, Inauguration Day is the 201st day of the nation's age. It can be written 20/1. Federal government, the name of that day on the website is Inauguration of the President of the United States, which equals 201, like the Jesuit order, like Order of Illuminati, which again was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, and he died in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. And the gazillion 201 rituals with the Jesuits and their pawns, like Joe Biden sacrificed his wife, daughter, and son, all in 201 rituals. Trump just sacrificed his ex-wife exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year on the same day that he said he would run in the upcoming election, which was the 60th, and then he buried her on the 201st day of the year. And not to mention they had their first child together on the 201st day of Trump's age. And not to mention they got married in a 201 ritual. Again, look at the name of the church they got married at and the man who led the ceremony, 201, 201. Again, 201, big calling card of the Jesuits. 78, big calling card of the Jesuits. 54, big calling card of the Jesuits. A dope will go, oh, see that? You have 3 numbers connected to the Jesuits. Is it not true that they refer to themselves as Jesuit, Jesuit order, the Jesuit order? I mean, this is the way language is too. So if there's numbers behind language and it's used as a Kabbalistic code, why not connect the numbers that go with the exact phrasing of your name ritualistically over and over, playing God over the world? Again, the Kabbalistic belief is God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. The Holy Bible equals 201. One of the most infamous verses in the Bible is the 78th verse of Genesis. Genesis equals 78. That's Genesis 3:22, like how this thing was 322 days after Kennedy's birthday when the supposed assassination happened. Jim Jones, the dopes on that CT panel, they were like, oh, you're like Jim Jones. Tell us about that. And it was funny. I just got done teaching about 70. It was perfect how they did it because I just got done teaching about Genesis and the 78th verse and 3:22. I said, how perfect you ask? Because the Jim Jones thing happened on the 322nd day of the year in 78. I mean, it's how redundant it is. Not to mention the founder of the Illuminati died on the 322nd day of the year, November 18th, 1830. But yeah, again, I mean, it's amazing how much coverage out there is and how many YouTubers covering this and putting their spin on it and how many views a lot of these people get. And it's like, I don't know how anyone's getting more views than us. I don't understand why anyone's getting more views. Everyone else is lost in the sauce. You listen to these other channels, they have no clue about anything. They're talking about like it's real. Can't connect anything. I haven't heard a single person in the world mention that that's the same hotel Trump was at for the 2016 selection. So no one gets it. Again, it's like we're the only people in the world that get it. Someone out there's getting annoyed by that. Oh, that sounds pretty arrogant. Well, it's not arrogant if it's true. I mean, who else gets it? Who else gets it? I mean, like almost nobody gets it. Like they cannot connect 2 and 2 together. We're calling all this stuff out before it happens. RFK's filing his paperwork. We're doing a video April 5th, 2023, talking about the 144 and how it foreshadows assassination stories to come. Assassination hoax stories. Because that's what it's been the whole time, too. That's why all this stuff's so perfect. What do you mean the Kennedy assassinations were hoaxes? Where's any proof they weren't? Where's any proof they weren't? How come all their family members keep getting in politics and there's no getting to the bottom of any of it? Just it all remains some mystery. Again, the JFK video wasn't even visible until like the 90s when they put out the re-released updated version in the 90s. You couldn't make out a single thing on that tape. Everything's just so perfect by the same number code. Again, as far as I'm concerned, that there's no proof anything that we've ever been fed about history is true. It's just one contrived story after the next to shape agenda and policy that has impacts on our lives. Every story they give is to take away rights and liberties and build the surveillance state, point blank, period. And there's no proof anything they ever show you has happened. Again, and dopes are like, well, so what? You don't think people get shot? I didn't say that, dope. How many real shootings happen in your own community that never make the news? I was living in Yakima for what 2018 to 2022, 4 years. Shootings all the time. None of them were like. Well, actually, hold on. Actually, hold on. There was one. Well, I think it was the one on the hold on. What day was that? It was the day I went out there. It was the day out there, and were having the standoff at Almost Alamo. Never mind. And actually, that was after I moved out of Yakima. But again, the point is, if I remember right, that was the 24th day of the year, and they had to tell you that the suspect went east on Route 24. And if you look up the Masonic Lodge in Yakima is Lodge 24, and Yakima equals 24. So finally the time that Yakima made a new national news story for a shooting, there's like 1,000 of them that happened, but then finally one made it. And remember, I was out there that day. We were documenting it. I had the police officer shoving me around for asking questions. Like, look at this guy shoving me and threatening to arrest me for asking questions. But the whole thing was bullshit. They stood out there. Literally, they had a standoff at a street called Almo. And this was right before the anniversary of the Alamo. A-L-M-O. It was missing one A to be Alamo. So all day the news is focused on this standoff. They got out the militarized vehicles, drones. They had like these tank-looking things behind this property. And then all of a sudden, after like 8 hours of standoff, they get a call that the suspect's been found dead behind the Target. Remember this? Target, like a shooting, right? So I knew where the Target was. I drove over there. It's like 3 miles away. When I got over there, no police anywhere, no taped off area, no sirens. That's just the way the national news story ends. Everyone just clears. The police are like, oh yeah, he was found dead behind Target. And I remember the one fat police chief who wasn't mad. I said, don't you think it's funny you guys having a standoff on Almost Alamo? And he looked up at that. He's like, oh, that is weird. It's like these guys they're just getting deployed where they're getting told to go. We heard he's on Almost Alamo. God. If you guys didn't watch that stream, I even had like some little stray chihuahua come and like bite me in the ankle that day. And he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at all the noise and activity and police vehicles everywhere. I was like, God damn, little chihuahua, get out of here. But yeah, never mind. I was saying there was none. Actually, let me correct the record. There was one, and it was a total psyop. Okay. And again, it was just so perfect. And it was all tribute to the local Masonic Lodge there in Yakima, Lodge 24. So that's where a lot of those cops went afterwards. Hey, did you find his body behind Target? Who found his body behind Target? It's just crazy how they can do it, though. Just get away with this national news all day, and then nobody cared about my coverage. I drove over there. I was like, you guys, there's nothing going on at the Target. They supposedly found the body. You think there'd be like some police scene here? Nothing. I drove around the whole neighborhood behind that Target. Nothing. Nothing. Just straight psyop. And don't forget that shooting at Yakima, if you want to go back and look at the story, they said the shooting happened at a Circle K. And again, in magic, the first thing you do is you draw the circle. K is the 11th letter. Anyway. All right, let's transition to Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny, who killed the guy Neely, that was synced up with George Floyd getting kneeled on, as the media draws these parallels between these stories. Again, just so obvious what happened here. From the George Floyd killing of Memorial Day, May 25th, 2020, to the Jordan Neely killing was exactly 153 weeks. And maybe I didn't put the screenshot up here, but again, May 1st is the Illuminati's birthday, right? The Illuminati's birthday is May 1st. The Illuminati equals 153, okay? Biblical number, right? Miraculous catch of 153 fish. Only people making miraculous catches these days are the Gematria community. But again, the Illuminati, 153. So literally exactly 153 weeks from the George Floyd psyop, which was a total Jesuit Illuminati ritual, as we covered a gazillion times, to this. I mean, you can't make it up. It's exactly 153 weeks. Exactly. And again, just for the record, Jesuit orders also got the 153. Holy Bible's got the 153, going with the miraculous catch, going with the people who gave you the Bible as you know it, who use it like a playbook. And from the killing to Friday, where essentially he was acquitted, and then I was confused because it was Friday, that was the headline that he was acquitted, and then Monday he was acquitted again. It's like getting acquitted 2 times, so I got to make sure everybody's up on the psyop. But again, from the killing to December 6th was 83 weeks and days. Murder's 83, right? And murder's also 38. Remember, George Floyd was killed on the corner of 38th Street, 83, 38. Now, the Monday acquittal, which was like the bonus acquittal, or maybe there was some other charge that he got acquitted on. I don't know. It seemed like it was over on Friday, but then it's over on Monday again. Now, that would have been 3 more days from Friday to Monday. And notice it was 83 weeks and 4 days. So Monday would have been exactly 84 weeks after the killing. Again, 84 is not an arbitrary number. Jesuits 84, Masonry's 84, United States of America's 84, the Jesuit orders 84 and 201. Remember, George Perry Floyd's 201. He was killed exactly 201 weeks after a Dame Traore, who was killed on the 201st day of the year, and their names were protested together in Paris, France, the original home of the Jesuits. And by the way, Ignatius Loyola, the original Jesuit, Mr. 201, he died 84 days from his birthday. But again, the Catholic Church is also 84. The leader of the Jesuits, the Superior General, his title's 84, on and on and on. Remember, what's her name? Laken Hope Riley. Laken Hope Riley, 222. The 22-year-old killed on 2/22, major psyop for the whole year. Families from Marietta, where so many psyops come out of. But you see how Laken Hope Riley's 222 in the same cipher as Superior General? Remember, her supposed killer, who's from Venezuela, just like the Superior General is, Arturo Sosa, he said he didn't want a trial on the Superior General's birthday, on the same day that Trump appointed the new guy to head the Pentagon, the guy with the Templar tattoos on his chest, when the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo. Again, all major league psychological operations, all by the numbers. You learn the code, you see through the ritualism and who's pulling the strings. But yeah, the other thing about Daniel Penny and George Floyd is look at their names. 119 forwards, 178 in reverse. All-seeing eyes got the 119. If you recall, George Floyd, he was supposedly killed on Memorial Day, May 25th, but we didn't get any news of that story on May 25th. The news broke with the cell phone footage being released the next day, May 26th. Do you remember what was going on May 25th? All day that day, Memorial Day, there was one big story in the news. Can you remember what it was the day before George Floyd? It was the white woman who called the police on a black man for bird watching. And the black man pointed out that she was choking her dog because she had him all pulled up on the leash. She was choking the dog while she was calling the police. People are saying, look at that crazy white woman choking her own dog while she calls the police on the black man for bird watching. But that was in Central Park, right? And then the park police killed George Floyd the next day. And that's the Twin Cities where he was killed, and 9/11, can be written 11/9, and where the Twin Towers came down in New York. But Central Park has that 119, and Central Park's also 178. And by the way, Central Park's also 47 because Luigi supposedly disappeared into Central Park, right? He made it through Central Park where there's probably 1,000 police within a half mile there on any given day. But and for the record, with regards to 47 being the number of authority in government, like we talked about, policeman, that's another 47. Cop, that's another 47. Probably went into police protection in Central Park. It's probably the real story. And they shipped him off to the McDonald's in Altoona. Got that special treatment like Dylan Stormroof. Remember Dylan Stormroof was spotted by 47-year-old Debbie Dills on Interstate 74. That was the Charleston church shooter. Just going down memory road with all the 47 psyops over the years. Dylan Stormroof. Where do they get these characters from? Here's a penny for your thoughts. Again, Daniel Penny. I mean, just look at it. The stories are compared to each other. The gematria is the same. The ritual's perfect. Comes back to the Illuminati's birthday. People go, but haven't you watched the History Channel documentary that Adam Weishaupt became a drunkard and a gambling addict and the Illuminati fell apart because he was drunk and gambling too much? So he formed a powerful secret society with a lot of other powerful people, and because he became a drunk and a gambling addict, the network just totally fell apart, huh? Great History Channel episode. Meanwhile, back on Earth, they continue to pay tribute to the Illuminati day after day. Yeah. So that's the problem. That's the problem with everyone being under the spell of authority. But I heard on the History Channel after I got done watching Ancient Aliens. But remind me, what year was the UFO psyop? Was that in 47 in the 47th state, New Mexico? After the first ever official UFO sighting on the 47th parallel? by Seattle as it crossed past Mount Rainier, the UFO did, when Rainier's another 47. Well, numerology, though, they don't cover that on the History Channel, so that doesn't matter. Okay. All right. By the way, you're tuned into the guy who calls all the World Series year after year. We did it again this year. Congrats to the winners. World Series this year began on Juan Soto's birthday. Now, notice, he went to the New York Mets as the highest paid player in baseball history until probably a few months later when there's an even bigger contract. But again, he goes to the New York Mets on December 9th, 129. Interesting. Went from the Yankees to the Mets. And, you know, the Mets have a history of overpaying for players. When they go there, they don't perform for them like they do on the Yankees. But what a day to go to the New York Mets, right? Again, been showing you how baseball is like one of the best things to show how the whole code's so relevant. Again, just look at the gematria of baseball, you guys. 54, like how many outs are in a game. 18, like how many half innings there are. 162, like how many games there are in a modern day season. And then 54 again. I mean, come on. Major League Baseball, 162 games in a season. 63. Always watch out for June 3rd in a non-leap year. It's the 154th day of the year. That matters because double day equals 154. You use American baseball's credit to the Freemasonry having a double day. Grand Slams 154. It's always a Grand Slam fest on June 3rd, the 154th day of the year. Remember, I told you so when June 3rd comes around again. But anyway, Major League Baseball. There's been a lot of death rituals with 63 in baseball. R.I.P. Fernando Valenzuela. Covered that one. We thought the Dodgers would start the series 3-0 versus the Yankees as they did because Valenzuela beat Rudy May in Game 3 in the 81 World Series. Rudy May and Fernando Valenzuela, both dead days before the World Series again. Nobody blinks an eye. Major League Baseball is also 351, which is the 26 triangular number. And it's also 117. That was the number we used to call the Rangers with 50-1 odds to win the World Series, sync with George W. Bush. That was the 119th World Series. 2023, the World Series that ended on his 119th day of his age. I'm talking about George W. Bush, who used to run the Rangers. But the Rangers beat Philly 11-7 to open the 2023 season. Philly, who'd been in the World Series the year before, also what we called big payout for them just to be there in spring training. That was the 118th World Series. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 118. Philadelphia, PA, 118. Anyway, we can go down memory lane for all these things, but again, Rangers beat Philly 11-7 to open the season, 267 days after Bush's birthday when 267 is a Philadelphia area code. We knew that was a major league ritual. You document the major league rituals. So often you document the futures and exactly where it's going. Rangers 50-1 to win that World Series that day. Boom. And I don't teach you all to bet the house. I tell people, you better put $10 down on that because that's $500 at the end of the season. And you get a nice little $500 gift at the end of the season. Boom. But anyway, and we had that World Series to end 4-1 on Bush's 119th day of his age. That's another nice payout. Boom. But you remember what they did to Roy Halladay, the two-time Cy Young winner? Dead off the coast of Holiday, Florida on November 7th, 117, the day leaving 54 days left in the year. Baseball star, dead on 117, the day leaving 54 days left in the year. Nobody blinks an eye. Meanwhile, the song Gematria, the killing name, plays in the background. Meanwhile, in the background, the police song Murder by Numbers plays. The dopes come along. Numerology? Must be a schizophrenic. Not realizing they're under Nazi mind control. Yeah, we just covered that. Klaus Conrad, the Nazi scientist who created the ideas in society that pointing out conspiracies is mental illness, pointing out patterns in numbers is mental illness. Again, one nation under Nazi mind control, because just like Nazi scientists like him, they were brought over here in Operation Paperclip after the war. Your nation's under Nazi mind control. Your nation's involved in racial genocides all over the place, killing brown people left and right. I was like, so what? Freedom. That's how we stay free. They hate us for our freedom, brown people. Again, I get so sick of it, you guys. I get so sick of just living in a nation of dopes and people who hate truth and just march along and think they're smart because they regurgitated what they heard on the TV. They think they're holier than thou because they went and voted in a rigged select. What do you mean this elections are rigged? I cast my vote. How's that rigged? I mean, literally, guys, this is like me echoing back exactly how these people talk. And it's like, I don't even know how to respond. I mean, you casted your vote, so it can't be rigged? Are you retarded? Never mind. Rhetorical question. Anyway, just adding on to the ritual, from his birthday to him signing with the Mets on the 9th, when baseball's got 9 innings, 45 days later, Major League 45. 45 is the 9th triangular number. You add 1 through 9 together equals 45. That's why they had to call the first rig selection for number 45 on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, which equals 45 on the 9th of November. Synced up with his commercial for Serta Mattresses, talking to Digital Sheep 11 and 9, saying, looking good, number 9, looking good. Talking about sheep born. Or he's talking about himself born for the job and how the sheep will never count votes again. Or he didn't say count votes. He said the sheep will. What did he say? He said they'll never count sheep again. That's what they said. They'll never count the sheep's votes again. That's what he really meant. Okay. And by the way, December 9th, 24 had an abbreviated date numerology of 45. He's 26 years old, the magic number. Again, names like Brian and Jordan equal 26. R.I.P. Kobe on the 26th day of the year on the anniversary of Bear Bryant's death. Athlete equals 26, but so does ball game, so does game. They stole him from the Yankees. The most dominant team in baseball history. The full date numerology was 65. They took him from the Yankees, switching sides to play for those loser Mets. And, we'll see what the future holds. But again, the history in sports is when you get paid big time, a lot of times you fall off. That said, Juan Soto is in his physical prime. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it'll be one of those rare things where it turns the tide. So, definitely by the numbers, though. Definitely by the numbers. And I did put out a short video on this morning, but big news down in Southern California, Malibu, near the Pepperdine campus. Man, if you've never been to the Pepperdine campus, I mean, I haven't been to every college campus in America, but I can't imagine that there's many that are much nicer than Pepperdine. It's like being to the luxury resort. I had one kid from my high school class go there. He was a rich kid. Very expensive place to go to school. Very expensive place. And anyhow, they're calling this thing the Franklin Fire. It broke out yesterday on December 9th, 129. Again, 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. Notice the overlap with Franklin Fire, weather control, the Jesuit order. And people will be like, what? You think they control the weather? Yeah, first act of weather warfare was only admitted to 72 years ago on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15, 1952. So your mocking tone and your ignorance doesn't substitute for intelligence or anything. Just shows what a loser you are. And again, for the people who don't like that I do this in my streams, you guys, I'm talking to the world. Don't you realize the majority of the world's not us? It's the losers I'm talking to right now who need to be put in their place. And I come from, again, maybe I'm wrong, but I come from a place of like tough love is the thing. I didn't come from a nice household. When I was out of line, I got chin checked or I got mocked or made fun of, and it didn't always feel good. But then sometimes if I realized I was in the wrong, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to do that again. I don't want to be treated like I'm some loser dumbass. Like these people need to get treated like, because it is a bunch of loser dumbasses. Oh, you think I can control the weather? Yeah. 201 days after JFK died, Lyndon Johnson was at Holy Cross Jesuit University talking about who controls the weather controls the world. First act of weather warfare, again, on the Jesuit order's birthday. The numerous 201 crazy weather things we pointed out. Fires burning up Southern California in December near the winter solstice has become a ritual in recent years. And it makes all the people under the, in this case, liberal spell be like, man, we got to give up more rights and liberties. Raise the gas tax to $20 a gallon so we all go broke. And it's still going to keep happening because this isn't Mother Nature. This is psychopaths forcing agenda. You remember when Slick Willie Gavin Newsom, Jesuit educated at Santa Clara, remember when he said, I'm reversing my policy on the Diablo Canyon nuclear plant because Billy Goat Gates, another Agent 201, he says that nuclear is the only way we can get to zero emissions. And when Gavin Newsom did that, it was 201 days from his birthday. Go figure. And remember, Bill Gates, he put out that 201-page book about climate change, and then they made a documentary about it, and they changed the title from the book to, I have to go back and look at my notes, but I know they changed the documentary title to 201, and Bill Gates gave his infamous speech about climate change in 2010, 2010, right before he went to Switzerland, the World Economic Forum, who hosted the Event 201 simulation, where they said the silver lining of the pandemic was they got a lot of these climate accords in place from Agenda 21 in 2030, when the signing date for Agenda 21 was the date leaving 201 days left in the year. But anyway, the point is, it's the same number pattern over all this stuff. Bill Gates starts building his experimental nuclear reactor in like the most beautiful state in the country, Wyoming. And then on the day leaving 201 days left in the year in Wyoming, they get a once-in-a-thousand-year rain event that wipes out part of Yellowstone. I mean, that crazy Dubai thing that happened earlier this year, crazy rainfall in Dubai, that was 201 days before JFK's weather control speech anniversary, September 25th, 1961. You think they can control the weather? Yeah, President spoke about the United Nations in 1961. The United States of America banned weather warfare in the start of the 80s. Remember, we covered that earlier this year. We called the Congressman's office. The congressman who was on TV after the crazy storms down in Florida and the Southeast that destroyed a lot of people's lives, took their lives, that we called out before they happened, like almost to the day at the start of the year. The congressman they had on TV who represents Florida, he was on TV calling people wackos and getting syndicated for saying people are wackos and online conspiracy theorists, talking about how the government can have an influence on the weather. And then we looked into it and we saw that he began by representing Florida's 26th district when he started in Congress. And it was literally on his 26th birthday. He's an older man now, but it was his 26th birthday, the day that the U.S. government banned weather warfare. You don't think they picked that loser right out of the hat perfectly to do that ritual, to go on and make fun of people like me, when literally weather warfare was banned on his 26th birthday? And remember, God equals 26. And if you ever read my first book, it's about why there's 26 letters in the English alphabet, which pays tribute to Hebrew, where the 4-letter name of God equals 26. God in Hebrew and English is 26. 26-letter alphabet, these people playing God every day? I mean, what's more playing God than controlling the weather? Remember, the Holy Bible's 201. What happens in the Bible in Genesis? The biblical flood ends in Genesis 8:3, like they pay tribute to 83 all the time with these floods. They did it in both of the major hurricanes that impacted Florida and the Southeast. No, and it's a damn shame that more people aren't picking up what we're doing. Joe Rogan. People are looking at Joe Rogan to save the day. Joe Rogan is a controlled puppet. I do remember when Joe Rogan, though, had Rosie O'Donnell on back in like 2016-ish, maybe 2015. It might have been 2017. It was somewhere back there. It was in that time period. I was living at my old house in Bothell. And I do remember everyone showed the clip to me, how he's like, have you heard about this gematria thing, this letters and numbers thing? And Rosie O'Donnell took him off the topic and into something else. And by the way, we've been in Rosie O'Donnell, one of her live streams years ago, maybe 4 years ago, 2020-ish, 2021. Back when we had more views, and we had a lot of people in our live stream trying to get her to talk about this, and she was like making fun of it in the stream. She's like, that's no way to get me to talk about anything, harassing me in my chat. I forget who she had on. I think she had Larry Gators on. Larry Gator, another useful idiot. Another one of these paid black men for the racist Orange Oompa Loompa Donald Trump. Remember what we did to Larry Gators? Larry Gators was talking shit about me in his chat. He's like, we're not talking about Zachary K. Hubbard. We're talking about the Jesuits and how evil they are and how you need to donate me money and vote for Trump. It's like, whoa, this is crazy. He's telling people how evil the Jesuits are and then telling them to vote for a Jesuit Donald Trump. Man, these con men know they can just get away with fleecing their flock because they're not looking into shit. Well, look at it, you guys. Look at it. And then here's the other part. The fire began yesterday, December 9th, in Malibu, on the day leaving 22 days left in the year. You think it was arson? It doesn't mean anything. You think numerology means something? As every one of these fires is just like this, has been documented for a decade. All these crazy, unprecedented fires in California, every single one's just like this. The worst of them all yet was Paradise in LA, burning up on November 8th. Paradise, California, 118. Los Angeles, California, 118. Deadly wildfires on November 8th, 118. 118 is a number of death in Jewish gematria. In LA on the 118th meridian with the September 4th establishment date, the day leaving 118 days left in the air. And I mean, look at this, you guys. Look at this. The fire's footprint grew from 100 acres at 11:54 p.m. Is that not a 9 in numerology, 54? And we already know what 54 is. So at 11:54, at the very end of the day, they set the fire. Jesuit order. Numerology rituals, master number. So it started with 100 acres. And 100 acres is a lot. I mean, that's a lot of land. But Monday to more than 1,800 acres about 4 hours later. LA equals 4. And yeah, just a really beautiful place. Remember the motto, go forth and set the world on fire. This is what Ignatius Loyola said. Go forth and set the world on fire. 144, like Jesuit order. And 54 as well, like 54th minute of the 11th hour. After the shooting on 54th Street. Okay. And then real quick, just through the Jay-Z thing, because somehow, some way, people didn't get notifications for one of the 3 videos. Again, it was the day of the John Lennon assassination anniversary, the 44th anniversary, mind you. John Lennon shot in New York. Jay-Z gets the character assassination on the 44th anniversary. Jay-Z with the 444 album. Remember, in Sumerian gematria, rapper equals 444, like Masonic, like a cult. Again, Jay-Z did the Black album in tribute to the Beatles' White album. And on that album, he has the song 99 Problems. And he says, I was doing 55 and a 54. And again, the rumor started when he was 54, that he was going down with Diddy at age 54. And then right when he turns 55, he goes down. Again, the accusation happened on the day leaving 23 days left in the year, rape 23. He recorded the Black album partly at 54 Sound Studio. The album's 55 minutes and 32 seconds, just like his first album, Reasonable Doubt, is 55 minutes and 32 seconds. But again, numerology 55 and 44. 44th anniversary of Lennon. I was doing 55 and a 54. Again, the accusation is they raped a 13-year-old after the MTV VMAs. MTV and VMAs 55. Rumors Diddy's in the Boulé 55. Diddy's trial begins while he's 55 on May 5th, 5-5. Again, Don Richard filed the lawsuit against Diddy. A 55-page lawsuit 55 days before his 55th birthday, the day before the VMAs of 2024. And then it was getting all the attention the day of the VMAs. And you had people like 50 Cent coming out and saying, Jay-Z's going down next. And then eventually 50 Cent will be going down because they all go down by their number when their number's up. But yeah, again, there's a lot more to this. I've covered it in more recent videos, but again, Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z's first album, 55 minutes, plus it's got the 55 gematria. But wait a minute, you did a different cipher than MTV and VMAs and Boulé. I remember explaining this stuff, because back when I first started, I only did these 2 ciphers, the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order of numerology, just like I learned them out of Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages, published in 1926. And I'd say, well, think about it. I mean, how do you get like a phrase or a sentence to have the same numerical value as one word or an acronym? You have to have different systems, because over the years, we've been showing how all this works. The same thing. It's just like brain dead people are just looking for a way to dismiss. And really, if you could see like the way their mind worked, you'd realize that behind that, there's like this cowardice center where they don't want to admit that there is this evil ruling thing that's mocking us and having influence our lives. They just, because you hear them all the brain deads are like, I don't believe in any kind of like conspiracies, which is just like a total retard thing to say, because conspiracies everywhere. It's when 2 or more people conspire to take advantage of another group of people. So it goes on every day at all levels. You've probably been involved in a conspiracy. But again, they just don't want to admit that they're wrong. It's the ego. It's the fear. They don't want to think there is this nefarious thing out there that might have them in the wrong place at the wrong time, like people have been when these fires have been set, like RIP all the people in Maui by the numbers, only for Joe Biden to show up 13 days later on Hawaii's birthday. And it was Hawaii's 64th birthday as a state when Maui and Joe Biden equals 64. And it was once overthrown by the Committee of 13. And here's the president of the 13 stripes for a numerology ritual. But then all the dopes are like, dude, you sound mentally ill. I mean, 2 ciphers? Numerology? All right, and again, from the reasonable doubt release to December 8th, 167th day, Sean Carter, his birth name, 167, the 39th prime, the number large and in charge in New York, where every single way connected to the city has a 39 connection in all 4 ciphers. Not to mention there's a million things in New York's history that are 39, including the 39th floor United Nations that's there. And again, from Sean Combs being accused by this 13-year-old of rape after the VMAs to Jay-Z being added 49 days later. Bad Boy and Sean Carter also 49. Again, Diddy got arrested 49 days before his birthday. And before either of them went down, we called it. Or when I say we, I mean me. I like to say we because I like to talk about the community. But, I mean, it was yours truly who called it. Again, the day Clarence Avant died, I said, Jay-Z and Diddy look like they're going down at 54. Clarence Avant dead 54 years after Sussex Records established. And that's how you can tell he didn't really establish Sussex Records. No. The Jesuits did. You know, Elvis started recording at Sun Record Studios at age 54. In 1954. The Jesuit logo is the sun. And remember, poor Elvis, he didn't make it past 42. Jesuit 42. They said he did black music. 42 all over black history. Anyway, and the girl that was with Elvis when hold on, what's the name of the girlfriend with Elvis when he died? You know what her name equals? Hold on, Ginger Alden. You know what it equals? 201. Okay. You remember what they? Oh man, do you remember what they did to Elvis's daughter? Right after the Golden Globes. Elvis's daughter's just dead at 54 right after the Golden Globes. And again, Elvis began recording in 54, first concert in 54. And the actor portrayed Elvis, got Best Actor. And then right after that, Elvis's daughter's just dead at 54. It's like, I wish I could remember every like $1 million example we have over the years off the top of my head. I mean, because there's like a million of them. It's like, and then people, it'd be funny to just watch the average dose of I think that's a coincidence. Yeah, coincidence. Just be like a laugh track of how stupid these people are. Problem is 90% of the world would be right there with them. I think it's all a coincidence too. I voted for Trump. I think he's going to make everything great again. And again, from No Way Out coming out to Jay-Z going down 139 days. You know what else? That would have been the 158th day of the nation's age. Again, they have the song Jay-Z and Diddy on Diddy's album No Way Out called Young G's. And again, the G's, the logo of the Masons. So 139 days after the album anniversary, what would have also been the 158th day of the nation's age. And Jay-Z is a Mason. Like, that's known. There's photos of him in there in his little Mason bow tie in the lodge. And honestly, it looks like Prince Hall Freemasonry because it's all black men. Prince Hall's also 55. So Jay-Z's probably a Prince Hall Freemason, and Diddy's Boulay. At least that's the rumor with him. It's the rumor with him. Jay-Z, he's definitely a Mason. And based on the photos that are out there, that's how Prince Hall Freemasons dress up. The black and the white with the bow tie. But yeah, again, No Way Out came out on 22/7, the 22nd of July, 49th prime. Again, Scottish is 49. The highest degree of the Scottish Rite's 33. It's 49 ritual. And again, from Arturo Sosa, from his birthday to the Jay-Z accusation of rape, 27th day of his age. Young G's, the name of that song, 27, like ritual. Remember, the Jesuits are the fathers of Freemasonry, modern Freemasonry, that is. Jane Doe, 5427, Jesuit Order 54, They're building their headquarters, the Church of the Jesuit, 54 Piazza del Jesuit. Church of the Jesuit's got the 167 like Sean Carter. Again, his album came out in a leap year on the 177th day of the year. His first album, Reasonable Doubt, the Jesuit Order 177. His album came out 56 weeks before. Again, people keep arguing about this. You guys, you don't have an argument. A lot of people heard Jay-Z's voice for the first time. And by a lot of people, I mean almost everybody who ever heard Jay-Z's voice for the first time didn't hear him on his own album. Jay-Z was a nobody when Reasonable Doubt came out. Yeah, okay, New York people, I get it. You probably heard his voice. Nobody in the nation knew who Jay-Z was until he showed up on Puff Daddy's No Way Out album on the song Young G's. We're talking about 99% of the country, that would be the story. Not the small group in New York who follow hip-hop music and knew about this up-and-comer Jay-Z. Reasonable Doubt didn't sell anything until after he became famous years later and people went back and bought the record. But isn't it interesting that from that album coming out to people hearing him on Young G's was exactly 56 weeks later, like Society of Jesus is 56, like Freemasons is 56, like Black Lives Matter is 56, like Rockefeller's 56 because he was on Rockefeller Records. That's why they put out his Blueprint album on the day 9/11 happened when those buildings came from the Rockefeller family. And again, it's 56 and Black history is everywhere, just like Diddy getting arrested 56 days after the No Way Out 27th anniversary. And again, that album's 27 years old as he goes down in this 27 ritual. I mean, come on, man. Where is your argument? You don't have one. And that's what I hate about all the critics. They just all fall back on saying, oh, numerology's stupid. You can make numbers. You're looking for the numbers. Like, oh, so what? I'm responsible for all the dead musicians at 27? You don't think there's a reason for it? Did I record the song Gematria, the Killing Name, or Murder by Numbers? I put out those songs. I write the Agatha Christie story, the ABC murders, and was I in charge at Amazon and did a remake of that show? Nope. I was just the guy with the wherewithal to see that something was going on with numbers and had to look into why that might be and say, oh, okay, so there's this Kabbalah thing. Oh, okay. Oh, wow, Manly P. Hall wrote about it, how they're doing this in English. Told you to look into it. Okay, let's look into it. 11 years of proving my point every day. The same dopes with the same arguments. Numerology's dumb. Meanwhile, a lot of people have changed their lives. Haters everywhere out there. I was able to rebuild my life. I was in the best financial position of my life before I found out about this knowledge. I had a booming business going. I was taking advantage of those new laws in 2012 in Washington State. Set up a medical delivery service. Rolling. Got it all stolen November 15, 2014. Got ransacked. The knowledge helped me rebuild. Haters are mad everywhere. It's all it is. It's just like a society of losers and haters and wannabes and fakes and phonies and frauds. It's like, God, why can't there be more real ones out there? Can't there be more people like us? Again, the Blueprint on 9/11. One of a few albums released that day that were all full of the predictive programming. Tool put out their album that day, Lateralis, and then Maynard James Keenan, their singer, gave that speech that night. I think it was in Michigan, talking about when people find out the truth about 9/11, they're not going to be happy. Again, Tool. If you look into Tool's into satanic numerology, and they put a lot of their music beats to that and through the drummer. You have to read about the drummer, Danny Carey. He studies satanic numerology, and he gets a lot of his inspiration for his beats with the drums through that study. So, what do you think? Danny Carey's the only one into satanic numerology and getting people to move to the beat of his drum? Yeah, and don't forget, Jay-Z and Beyonce got married on Clive Davis's birthday. They did the 201 ritual with Clive Davis and Diddy's arrest. Independent woman coming up soon. Who's Beyonce going to be with next? Remember, Kim and Kanye got married on 14/4. Not long after the Jay-Z and Beyonce forced marriage. Roared on the street as Beyonce's made Jay-Z wear a paper bag when they've had to procreate. Other than that, they don't spend nights together. Come on, man. You think Beyonce is ever going to go with one of the ugliest men on the face of the earth? Please. And just the whole Assad thing, just to recap that one more time. Again, this guy has the 9/11 birthday. This year was the 23rd anniversary of 9/11. He flees to Moscow on the day, leaving 23 days left in the year. Al-Qaeda equals 23. Supposedly, he was overthrown by an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, when the history is that the CIA, which also equals 23, funded bin Laden to interfere with the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, which led to him taking those CIA funds and training and knowledge and creating Al-Qaeda, which backfired on the U.S., where it wasn't an inside job. Again, on 9/11/2001, which was a date with 23 numerology. So, now you sound like Jim Carrey in the number 23. And by the way, he fled to Moscow 88 days later. Now what, troll? He never did the movie The Number 88. He was hanging out with Vlad on 12/8 was al-Assad. And remember, you guys, the Arab League, which Syria was once a part of, formed on March 22nd, 322 in 1945, near the end of World War, when they were carving up all these new countries. When the CIA, part of this Jesuit world domination, was helping carve up all the new boundaries to create all the right tensions, all the right scenarios, so they could roll out their puppet show over the years by the numbers. And let's not forget that it was still December 7th in the U.S. when this happened. It was Pearl Harbor Day, like they called 9/11 the new Pearl Harbor, but it was the 83rd anniversary, which is the 23rd prime. I see Netflix was nice enough to add the Pearl Harbor movie midway at the time of all this. And don't forget, they put out the movie Pearl Harbor right before 9/11. In fact, they put it out 110 days before 9/11, like the World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall, and Osama bin Laden equals 110, like Rockefeller, like Cave Dweller, which is what Bush used to call him, the Cave Dweller. I'm sure there's some biblical Damascus rituals here too, and I didn't even look into that. But there it is again. Over the past 11 days, a rebel alliance charged through Syria in the boldest challenge to the Assad rule in years. It's part of it's a big tribute to the 11th director of the CIA too, Papa Bush, again, who gave his speech about a new world order, a world free or a terror, 11 years to the day of 9/11 happening, when his son was the president. His son, who said he would not go into the Middle East. There'd be no new wars. There'd be no new nation building. But then, 9/11 happened, so that changed everything. Just like when Trump was president, things were going so great until the scandemic came along, and then he ushered in communism and went along with every last agenda that made the bankers even richer and have more control and influence over our lives. And that's what it gets annoying about the dopes never learning. It's like you don't see the way the game works. They put in their puppets in there so that when they do their event, when the event comes, they'll go along with the plan, and then they'll have an excuse. Well, he was doing so great until that happened. I bet if 9/11 never happened, George W. Bush would have lived up to his promise about no new wars in the Middle East and no nation building. 9/11 changed all that. When will the dopes learn? Hey, shout out to King Richard TV. He said, also, they reported the shooter had a fake ID with the name Mark Rosario. Oh, is that right? Here, let's check it out. Luigi, Mangione, Mark Rosario, huh? Let's see. Let's make sure we got it all right. Mark Rosario. Must be his Secret Service handle. He's probably hanging out with that. Oh, Ginger Alden. Hey, I thought I just copy and pasted Mark Rosario. What's going on here? Well, look at that, you guys. Yeah. Okay, we covered the 78, right? Altoona, Trump being 78. We covered how it was the 159th day of the nation's age. And Donald Trump 159, like Scottish, right, in the same cipher. Hey, let's just compare it with Donald Trump. It's 138 and 159 in the same ciphers, right? Donald Trump, 138, 159. Mark Rosario, 5778, same ciphers, Scottish Rite. Donald Trump of Scottish ancestry. Again, the Rites of the Scottish Rite, written by Jesuit priests. Jesuit 78, Rome 57, like federal. All right, hold on. I'm tripping on the federal thing. I take it back. Federal's got the 138, though. Like Donald Trump. And August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday is the day leaving 138 days left in the year. Yeah, King Richard, one of the best decoders in the world. And again, for all the people here, I have to address something. For all the people out there going along with the trolls' fake information, his misleading, cut up, edited videos. Again, you know, if your name's Marco, and by the way, Marco, you're probably out there watching right now. If your name's Marco, I'm going to have you come on the stream and I'm going to let you bring all your accusations real quick. And then I'm going to put you in your place. But again, if you're one of the people out there that echoes my troll, who all he does is edit and cut up videos and make highly misleading videos, lies nonstop, and tries to make me the liar, again, you guys are morons. You have to remember, I'm married. You have to remember, Sweet Lady has achieved the doctorate degree. Sweet Lady's making bank. She got a major promotion this year. She's chosen to invest in real estate with mortgages, putting 20% down and getting renters in there to create passive income that pays for the mortgage, which is things that a lot of smart people do with their money. And her plan is in 10 years to have them all paid off so she can retire, because she's worried that in her chosen career, you know, there might be things that she doesn't want to do to her body, if you follow. So you guys are getting mad at what my wife is doing, rightfully so, with her own income, and saying that that makes me some kind of bad guy? I mean, it's laughable. And again, the losers video where he's showing me asking for people to support the work. Did you ever see people pouring and support the work? Never happened, did it? When do people support my work? When we smash futures. You know, a lot of people flew in after Super Bowl 55 landed. A lot of people swam in after the Tiger Woods Masters landed, which I gave out for free to everybody a month in advance. The only thing that's ever made people swoon to my work and support it is calling sports games. The actual support for the work is not very high. You know, like I said, I had a Patreon for 6 months selling my book for $5. And in that 6 months, it didn't even raise $1,000. I didn't even have $1,000 in book sales. So again, I put a lot into the community. You haven't seen anybody else in the world that's on YouTube talking truth ever invest in anybody, help anybody out, run a social media website, go out and hand out free merchandise, give out their stuff for free. So I'm being super generous with my time, dedicating like all of my time to this work, investing. And by the way, we do have a commercial property. Again, it's fully occupied with renters. It's also not paid off. It's also super expensive because I didn't realize how much commercial property insurance costs. I had to replace the roof last year. This upcoming spring, I have to replace the AC. It's very expensive to run things. The money that comes in for the support of the work that's outside of sports doesn't begin to cover anything. So when you guys are here trying to create these mishmash stories by chopping up 50 to 100 different videos over the course of nearly a decade, just complete BS. If you actually want to see things achieved, like us having a studio where people work like King Richard and all the other good people in the community, there needs to be people who actually support the work, okay? Not just for sports picks, which is what the majority of my support is. People want to support the work because they want to make money. I get that. There's not many people that want to support the work to see GematriaEffectNews, the studio happen, and employees happen. And I get tired of trolls being out there editing everything and making up stories and doxing information. Again, and then a loser like Marco. You know, the loser Marco yesterday goes on CT's podcast, and the first thing he says is, Zach didn't even have the information right because the Jay-Z story didn't break on Sunday. It broke today, Monday, December 9th. It's just like, listen to this guy. Marco, here's the thing about you. I remember when you first came into the community, you'd call into TFR, and you were all excited, and you'd give these decodes, and I was never rude to you, but in my mind, I was thinking like, this isn't the guy that we need calling in all excited, because every decode he does makes the work look really dumb. Mark will be like, "Here, I got things you missed. Did you notice how in the background of the shot there was a red brick with a white trim? Red brick with white trim equals 201." I'd be like, "Oh shit, here we go. Now we're gonna look mentally ill. It's gonna look like these are the people calling in. Yeah, you also missed another one. In the background there was also a green sign that had a silver rod connected to the green sign. Green sign with silver rod also equals 201." I'd be like, "Oh shit." This is exactly what my sister thinks my community is all about. Marco. But anyway, Marco became a troll after about 3 months of calling in like that. And, Marco calls into the CT thing yesterday. And I noticed how CT was nodding his head. Like, oh, yeah, Zach was wrong. The news did break. No, the news broke on Sunday, December 8th. But then he goes on there and starts spreading all the stuff that the troll's saying. And again, I mean, I'm not surprised that this guy ended up being a troll, because it always felt like when he was calling into TFR, I was like, is he trolling? You think this adds to the decode? Red brick with white trim, green sign with silver rod attached. I mean, it's... And again, he's one of these guys harping on about Angel, too. Angel, who seemed like some kind of operative. Again, Angel, who came out to Buffalo and was trying to seduce me. I'm not into obese women. But all she did was come out there and delay and slow down and needed me to pay for her hotel, and then kept lying about it was time to fly back, but then her flight was canceled. Anyway, here, let me get a couple more people on here. Marco still isn't showing up, but we got Rich, and then we got Diamond Quantum coming up. Rich got in first. What's up, Rich?
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Hold on. I got to switch the audio settings.
Right,
1 second. Sure. I got to switch so everyone can hear you.
Alrighty, we good? Hold on.
Should be good now, Rich. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, because on my end it was on mute. I couldn't even hear anything.
All right. Yeah, you're good now.
All right, for sure. Did you notice that Luigi Mangione, the supposed shooter, he has a Twitter account?
And I didn't look into that. It's still up?
Yeah. Go ahead and go on the Twitter and just type in his is Pep, P-E-P, and then his last name.
I see it. Pep Mangione.
Yeah.
This is weird. They never leave these up when these happen. They always take them down right away.
Yeah. Notice how he's following 71 people, right?
Okay.
He's following 71 people, and the killing, right? The killing of the CEO, it came 353 days after the Pope's birthday. 71st first prime, yep. And Luigi Mangione equals 71.
Catholic.
Like Catholic.
Society of Jesus.
Yep. Yeah. But when you write out his name, when you write out the @ there, his @ name on there, @Pep Mangione, it equals 47. And they said he came out of Maryland, which also equals 47. And if you look at that fake ID, I don't know if you've seen it, the fake ID, the one I mentioned to you about.
Hold on.
Right,
do you see some other things in Pep Mangione that stand out? How about assassin?
Right. Oh yeah, the 110-50.
Remember the Trump hoax on July 13th was 115 days before the 11/5 selection.
Yeah. Right. But if you look at the fake ID, it was issued in New Jersey. That's the 201 area code. New Jersey, the 201
and that's
area
the first ever area code too. So the
and that's
fake
also
ID's
where the
out of the 201.
Yeah, and if you guys ever watched the show The Sopranos, it takes place in New Jersey, right? So just think about the guy's name, right? Very Italian.
Let's not forget what they did to Tony Soprano. Dead 99 days after Pope Francis became the first Jesuit pope, when Sopranos came out in 99 and Sopranos equals 99, and it's on that Jesuit-run network.
Yeah, HBO. Yep. But if you look at the driver's license, the fake driver's license of this guy, the address, it's 128. It starts off 128 Sherman Place. And again, Maryland equals 128. We just had the bridge collapse there in Maryland, which started at 128 in the morning. And again, Maryland 128 and 47. Think about it. The 47, the Hilton Hotel, 47 stories. Trump 47.
Yeah.
But if you look at the license, the fake license, it's his date of birth. It's on there 7/21/1998, and it was issued on June 18th, 2024. Those two dates are 33 days apart. So from June 18th to July 21st is 33 days apart. New York,
July
33.
21st is the anniversary of the Jesuit suppression as well.
Right.
And
It's also the 202nd day of the year as well. And again, Maryland's right next to DC, the 202 area code where all these laws come out of, right?
that was the day that Biden passed the torch to Kamala this year.
Right. And again, Skull and Bones, 202. But you could also say that
you know what it reminds me of? It also, all this 47 reminds me of the 4th of July assassin who had the 47 tattooed on his face.
Yep. He has the 47 car, the 47 paint all over his car.
Yeah, man. Google for a while was making it so if you search my name on the internet, my face showed up as his face with the 47
Yeah,
tattoo.
I seen that.
They better not make this guy start showing up as me now that because July 21st is my birthday. I'm like, if they do that, I'm gonna be real annoyed.
Right. Yeah. And of course you covered the 201 piece that I found with Ted Krasinski. I think I'm saying his name right. Ted Krasinski.
Kaczynski.
Yep, Kaczynski. But yeah, and also
no. In 2018, when you had all those Austin bombing stories, that stuff was all synced up with the Unabomber. We were covering that in the spring of 2018, the Austin bomber.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right, and then of course, I don't know if you've seen this. I also mentioned that in my original comment. But Unabomber, right? It has gematria of 37 and 152, right? And again, this news comes 152 after Brian Thompson's July 10th birthday. 152. Mass shooter also has that gematria 152, and another person's name that also has that gematria is Joe Biden. Joe Biden 152. But I mean, what are the odds of these things, man? And I see people covering these things. It's not just CT covering it and trying to make fun of gematria. I see other people on YouTube. They're covering this stuff, and I'm putting the information in their chat, and I see
talking to CT's talking to a brick wall, right? We're getting done talking about how we predicted Jay-Z and Diddy's demise,
right?
And when we're done, he's like, "So can you use this to like predict anything though?" Like,
right?
Is this a joke? You're like, you're a piece of shit, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have guys on there go on there, and they're just like, "Well, these people are normal people."
Hold on. So Marco went on there and spewed all this stuff about me that's false, and then he brought on some woman who I'd never heard before, and then she's like, "Yeah, that Zach Hubbard's a charlatan and another false prophet, another person just fleecing sheep." And it's like, who's this lady? Like, how come she's getting on there? And like, again, it's just that's a troll platform, and he's always joking that he's CIA or Illuminati. I don't think he's Illuminati, but he is some kind of little troll. It doesn't make sense how he has like 100 people streaming and he's making all the money that he is. Who's donating all this money for this bullshit show?
Right. Exactly. It's like it has to be some sort of operation at this point.
It is some sort of operation. 10,000 subs and like 100 people in an average stream, and he's making all that money. That doesn't make any sense.
I just find it funny because he asked me one time. He's like, what does my name add up to? I'm all, well, your name adds up to 146, and I find it interesting. You over here white knighting for a guy who's born on 14/6.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Here we got Diamond Quantum in here. He wants to say something. Let's get him on real quick so he doesn't wait too long. What's up, Diamond Quantum?
Hey, Zach. Okay.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I would say the best thing about what you woke me up was thinking the Jews from the Jesuits. I was focused on the Jews. Then you woke me up to the Jesuits.
Okay. And I understand there is a connection between the two. They're not entirely separate. And that's another thing, though. People do not want to hear me blaming the Jesuits. People want to hear people blaming the Jews. It's another reason I lost a lot of support. I used to have more of a laser focus on, because the Jews are a part of it. I mean, they control Hollywood and they have a big influence in the media, and that does a lot of the mind control. The Jesuits are a Catholic-Jewish alliance, to be fair. But again, instead of blaming Jews, which is so vague and blames a lot of people who are not responsible at all, and understand, it's not every Jesuit-educated person isn't part of this conspiracy either, but it is Jesuits in high places that are pulling the strings on society and bringing us these spectacles that we see each day. So it's a lot more accurate. And for all the people out there who know Adam Green, again, Adam Green runs No More News. When he came back from Jerusalem, which is really interesting that he went there in the first place because he's Mr. Anti-Israel and Jew. The first interview he did when he came back was he asked me to do a show, and he took it. As far as I know, he's only removed one show that he ever did, and he removed my show. I asked him to look into the Jesuits. And I wasn't as laser focused on the Jesuits back then. But more recently, he debated Giovanni. Who's our guy that comes over here? I can't even think of his damn name right now. Johnny Cerrucci. Johnny Cerrucci.
So
he debated Johnny Cerrucci about Jesuits and Jews, and he cleaned the floor with Johnny Cerrucci because Johnny can't debate. But then I asked him right after that, I said, debate me on the same thing. And he said he would not debate me. And you don't need, everyone should know why that is. But anyway, thanks for coming on and saying that, Diamond Quantum. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Hey, so I think Adam Green is very similar to an Alex Jones. He's connected to some kind of NQTel, whatever.
He gets to go on InfoWars. He's been on InfoWars a bunch of times.
Anybody that's been on InfoWars is definitely, what do you call it?
Quiet.
So they've got, this is so sophisticated. Okay, we were born into a diamond quantum simulation run by a dragon and reptilians. This is I might die. Seriously, guys. I am being targeted. I am a targeted individual. I usually don't show my face. I'm showing my face. I don't give a shit anymore.
Here's what I gotta say to you.
They chose me. They are playing a script, and they are playing out a script, and they chose me as Jesus. Okay, okay. I'm not playing. Okay, I am not playing. They chose all of you. This is a script being played out. They're gonna plug you into a hole. They've manipulated your life. You don't even realize it. They're using some kind of quantum AI that existed since pre-time immemorial. And this stuff, so why we're here is because we're all little angel perverts. Okay?
What?
Yes.
All right, man. Well, hey, be safe out there, Jesus. Don't get crucified. Get yourself some protection.
Trust me.
Jesus was missing. Had he had the peace, he could have protected himself.
You're gonna. Are you gonna? Okay, let me just. This is the craziest stuff.
I know where this is going.
I am live on Free to Tell the Truth. Free to tell the truth. So the truth is that there are teleportation devices all over the country.
Okay, all over the world. I know where this is going already.
Okay, there are teleportation devices everywhere. Underground, the reptilians are using us all. Okay, you might not see me again. This is like the highest level. I remote viewed. I remote viewed into the Dulce base underground. I know this is telepathic. This is spiritual. See, that's the level that these people are at, and they're opening up portals for fucking demons, man. And they tried to seduce me. Trust me, I'm corrupted, man. The reason why we're here is because we're easily manipulated, guys. And guess what? We're guys. And I think girls are the
Hold
vagina.
on, I got to interject this. The only reason I'm giving you a chance that you're Jesus is because nobody wanted to listen to him.
I don't want to be Jesus. I don't want. I rebuke anybody.
Okay,
it's like I already know where it's going with that.
Jesus, nobody wanted to hear the message. Yeah. We are down 100 viewers since he started.
It's like, bro, I already know where he's going with that. I already knew where he was going with that.
That's just another guy that's just, he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's
he got to be trolling.
Here just trying to make people look bad. He's like, that's what my sister in her mind, she thinks that's everybody who follows my work. She thinks everybody's mentally ill.
He thinks I'm probably like that too.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the annoying thing is that people can't discern between somebody like that and someone like us. We're up here just putting out logical, undeniable facts. We're not saying that we're Jesus. And
it's like when he said that, I'm like, I know where this is going already. I know where this is going. But I think that dude was just trolling. To be honest,
he was trolling.
He was definitely trolling. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he probably was mocking too. He probably is one of these people that blames everything on Jews.
On Jews, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people. I don't see a lot of people calling out Jesuits, man. It's like you're probably the only one.
You know what? Yeah. I'd have way more support if I was blaming Jews, guaranteed. If I just kept everything up blaming
on
Jews.
Or the Rockefellers.
Because see, the lanes have been created, even for like the truth community. These lanes have been paved. That everything is Jews and Masons. So if you just talk about that, people are like, oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about because the other channel I was watching just said that, and the one before that said that. Wait a minute,
Right.
Jesuits? Oh, I heard his name's Joshua Greenblatt. He shills for the Jews. I mean, that's what happens all the time.
Yep. It does happen
It's
all
like,
the time.
but do you not have the discernment to realize that what I'm showing is undeniable every single day? Where these people blame Jews, just keep it vague like that. It's like, well, where's your proof? All right, what Jew did they line it up with? Well, who's the Jew head honcho?
It's like Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln didn't talk about the Jews and the Civil War. He said the Jesuits and the Civil War.
Just like no founders were worried about the Jews either. They were worried about the Jesuits.
Right, exactly. Hey, Zach, I wanted to make another point about 201. It's not it's related to the Jesuits, but it's not related to this topic. But I don't know if you ever watched that. There's a 3-hour documentary on the Jesuit order, basically exposing the oath of what they do, all that type of stuff. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with it. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
But I don't think I have seen it.
Yeah, no. Anyway, if you go watch it, if you just do a deep dive looking at it, I'm pretty sure you can go on something like DuckDuckGo and just type in the Jesuit order, go down the videos, and it should pop up. But I was watching it last night. You know, I've watched it a million times, but I went back to watch it last night, and there's an author in there who pretty much keeps talking about the Jesuits. You know, he's exposing the Jesuits, but you know, he's not talking about gematria or anything like that. He's just talking about the oath and the history and all that type of stuff, and how we need to, you know, they need to be banned essentially, right? The Jesuits need to be taken out. And his name is Eric John Phelps. Eric John Jon Phelps.
Yeah, he wrote. Yeah, I have his book.
Yeah, he has a bunch of books talking about the Jesuit order. I find it funny he has all these books talking about the Jesuits and exposing them. His full name, right? It equals 201, like the Jesuit order. Like
I think I pointed that out in the past. I'm pretty sure I've looked at that.
Really? Yeah. No, I found that. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, makes you wonder.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. Is he some kind of plant? He's talking about the Jesuits. He has all these books talking about the Jesuits. I think he has one called Vatican Assassins. That's a good book.
That's the book I have. It's back there on that shelf.
Yeah.
That's his most famous book.
Yeah, Vatican Assassins. Yep. But I think that's about it, man. Yeah, I think that's it. All I had. Oh no, wait, for another 47, right? They had to point out that the NYPD chief of detectives, Joseph Kenney, yesterday he was all in the headlines giving the details about the supposed shooter. Joseph Kenney equals the same thing as authority, government, White House, and the cabal. 4752. Going with that 47. But
yeah, another good one. Yeah, great finds as always, King Richard.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Mark Rosario. Yeah, everything King Richard found was perfect. Dante Reed, thank you for the 10. He said, I saw the death of Nikki Giovanni, an activist poet dead at 81. Nikki's 81. Her real name, Yolanda Cornelia, equals 81. She was connected to the Virginia Tech shooter. Interesting. I'll have to look more into that. I don't know what to say about that right now, but looks like more news by the numbers. R.I.P. Shout out to Logan Thomas, who pounded pavement with us all day in Portland this summer. Said, great work, Zach, and on another clear string of rituals. Keep shining a light. Eventually, eyes will open. I do appreciate that. Thank you again, Logan. And Open Up said, the low IQ individuals would still try to dismiss the information if there was only one side. Exactly, they wouldn't. Exactly. It's just, I mean, I realized that after 9/11, right back before I knew about any of this stuff. I just knew 9/11 was a lie. Started pointing out obvious things that were wrong with that. And everyone their mind was just like, okay, then move out of the country. Are you serious? You think your government would attack itself? You're crazy. Like, I think the people who are crazy are the ones that can't see that something's going on here that's nefarious. This election was obviously rigged for the second Bush, King George II. I think you're crazy if you can't see through that. Or crazy is not the right word, stupid. Stupid people think smart people are crazy. That's what I know. Thank you, True Slay. Appreciate that as well. 33rd degree free Memeson. Dinner with Jay-Z. Popular meme, huh? Interesting. Oh, hold on. Somebody left a comment. I forgot to look it up. Rock Nation establishment date. Jay-Z's Rock Nation, founded on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2008. Hold on, let's see something real quick. That is interesting. You guys see that? It's 200 months and 7 days later. So that means Jay-Z goes down in the 201st month of Rock Nation's existence. And maybe we'll get a follow-up exactly 201 months to the day, which obviously would be January 1st. January 1st going to mark 201 years to the day. Interesting. Yeah, somebody left that comment. Good one. Oh, I forgot to put the thing up on the screen so you can actually see what I'm looking at. Rock Nation, April Fool's Day. All right, and Rick James gifted 10 subscriptions again. Hey, Rick James, you're getting too generous over there. Thank you. Hold on, we got Jeff Young calling in real quick. He got to share something. It's a Jeff Young sighting. Jeff, did you want to share something with the stream?
I didn't know you were streaming.
Oh, well, I am streaming. I thought that's why you were calling in.
So fortuitous. I was actually calling to tell you that you and I need to do a stream.
Let's do it.
Because first off, I just got back from Europe and we played in about 10, 15 different countries in 20 days. So I definitely got a European perspective from the outside looking back here. But more mind-blowing, are you ready for this?
Ready.
So for about 6 months, I was house sitting in Phoenix for the new head coach of the Cleveland Guardians baseball team. He led them in his first, he retired the videos on YouTube. His name's Steve Voigt is his last name. He was the catcher for Oakland A's.
Okay.
Fortuitously, his final at-bat when he retired from the A's was a home run.
Perfect.
And his spring training house was in Phoenix, so when he got the gig in with Cleveland, the house was empty, so I house sit for like 6 months. So we could put a little color commentary on what I learned there on another day, and probably want to watch him for the future. He got head coach of the year, or coach of the year, I guess, for his fast ascent with the Guardians, formerly the Braves.
No, the Indians, Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, okay, Indians, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be great. Just let me know when and we'll make it happen.
Congratulations on the little Bambino.
Thank you.
What are you streaming about today?
Just all the BS, the supposed assassin, the Penny story, recapture the Jay-Z thing in Syria's leader fleeing to Russia. The big fire in Maui. Maui's on fire, or not Maui, excuse me. Malibu's on fire, if you didn't know.
Well, I just left LA, and that's handy because I was just in Malibu.
Yeah.
Good for me. I'm heading to Vegas.
Yeah. Franklin fire. It's the big news today. Big fire in Malibu.
Well, my intuition was good. I bailed out just at the right time.
Indeed. Yeah.
It's horrible being in LA anymore. It's so much like they live.
Yeah.
That you can't believe. I mean, every overpass, every underpass is tents, homeless people, RVs, people living up and down the streets in RVs. It's a trip.
How's homelessness in Europe? Is there homelessness in Europe?
Nowhere near as bad. I'd have to say maybe I saw a couple, if any. What I'll tell you is so much better is that although blander is the food, I felt like my whole system cleared out of all the bogus ingredients that are in American food. You know, U.S. food's banned in 30-some countries, right?
Correct.
Probably 33 by now.
Right.
So, yeah, I was feeling great, really clean. Not all the food's great, but, you know, just the average, the way they prepare potatoes and the vegetables taste cleaner. I already, on my Australian tour, I don't know if I mentioned before, the asparagus down there is just out of this world.
I got to try that. I like asparagus.
Well, head to Australia and you'll set yourself free, because I never had the equivalent taste in the U.S.
Makes sense.
I met some awake people. I met some people who knew that I was, and some of the people within the tour were, which was totally cool. Made it a lot more comfortable. You know where I loved? Belfast.
Okay.
But don't call it Ireland because it's the UK, right?
Sure.
Energy there was great. You know, we went everywhere. We went to Athens. We played Romania, Bulgaria, Sofia. So many places that I'd never played before up in the Balkan region. But you can see why people in those areas lust after coming to America, because just the hotels, the amenities, it's pretty basic. Especially, we were in some like formerly, you know, communist countries, some places that were tied up heavy with Russia. We played the Czech Republic. You can feel all that stuff. It feels so dry and sterile, and the people are just that way as well. You know where we played was amazing was Switzerland. And heck, if people want to see some totally Masonic, satanic imagery, you can go on my Facebook, send me a friend request. I have 2, so hopefully you'll guess the right one. I have a black and white cover photo, but you'll see it's easy to find because I have the photo album of all the photos from my European tour. You know, we were there a month. We played 20 shows, and like we did 12 shows straight with no days off, which was the brutality. You know, hopping sometimes 16 hours between countries on the bus. But if you go in that photo album, I think it says Europe 2024 tour. It should be the top photo album on my Facebook.
Let's see.
We went to this museum in Switzerland. The guy in the opening band said it was the best thing to do in Europe, and he wasn't wrong. It's H.G. Geiger. Some people out there may be familiar. He lived in this village. I mean, it was so quaint and gorgeous. There was a castle there. But he did the Alien movie, all the imagery for that. So all that is in this museum. He did the Emerson, Lake and Palmer Brain Salad Surgery album cover, which back in the 70s was, you know, one of everybody's favorite album covers, and still stands to this day as one of the greatest album covers ever. But I took a lot of pictures through the museum. You gotta take a look, because the imagery in this guy's artwork, I don't know what he was hooked into or tapped into. I know they said he slept during the day and was up all night. So if anyone wants to get huge, I mean, some of these paintings take up a whole wall.
Jeff, on your Facebook page,
on my Facebook,
when I go to albums, I don't see one that's titled with Europe.
I have 2 Facebook pages, so it'll be the other one.
Jeff Young. What's the other one? Music Without Boundaries?
No. Just my personal page.
I'm on the one that's Jeff Young.
Yeah, I have 2 of those because of the 5,000 rule, and I figured out how to get around that.
I see. I'm not sure I'm friends with you on your other one then.
I think you are. It's Jeff Young. If you look at the profile picture, I'm playing that trippy Eddie Van Halen sharp guitar. And the profile picture's black and white. And
okay. I am friends. Okay, I got it.
They go in the photos there, and you'll have to scroll down because Switzerland was kind of towards the end of the tour. But I mean, there's 50, 70 pictures from this museum. The guy was a trip. Again, he slept during the day, was up all night. I don't know what he was tapped into to come up with this artwork, but it's heavily satanic. A lot of alien stuff.
Sure.
And a lot of Masonic imagery, all the stuff. But it was an amazing, amazing experience. You want to know what's ironic? Is right next door was a Buddhist museum.
Huh. Interesting.
So that was, and we went, it was Chaz, the singer from Kings, and Fred, our tour manager, Andy, and a couple of the guys from Dieth who are Polish. And the second guitar player, and David Elson, our bass player, also plays in that band. He was doing double duty. He was playing in 2 bands in one night for half the tour. But anyway, so we all went out there, and just seeing the bar next door when you see where we went after, it's a trip because the entire ceiling looks like alien spines. It's the most amazing museum I've ever been in on this planet, and I've traveled a bit, so I can't recommend that any higher. Just where it's at, where it's located. We had a great village meal after the fact. We played on the Lake Geneva shoreline, which music aficionados will call From Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water. Right? It's the lyric in the first verse.
Indeed. Jeff, you know something that's funny? When I turned on the car this morning, the song that was on the radio, I had to run over to the grocery store early, was Symphony of Destruction. And I just thought, oh, what about Megadeth on the radio? And then it's weird. I haven't talked to you for a while. I find that just one of these interesting life things. The first song I heard this morning was Megadeth. And now we're talking to you. But
I've been meaning to call you about living in that coach's house. And my buddy's behind the scenes in sports in Phoenix. So I can shed a little light on that. We should do just a whole separate stream on that and kind of recap Europe and the stuff. I saw a lot of Masonic imagery and venues right next to Masonic temples and museums, and you know, the ones of us that are awake on the tour were just mind blown at certain imagery we saw. Because obviously it all originated in Europe, so you're going to see tons of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You'll see a lot in the photo album. Maybe if you just even look at the architecture in some of the buildings and countries where we were, you'll get the gist. But I've been wanting to call you. I just kind of settling in from the tour, and I'm really slamming to get my solo album done. I got some just sick players on it now. So really excited. Like the last couple of tracks that I've just written and are finishing, just put it over the top.
Indeed. Jeff, well, I want to do that stream. I told Sweet Lady I'd be done by 11. It's 11 a.m. out here on the West Coast, so I got to wrap this thing up. But yeah, let's get in contact and let's do that stream.
All right, buddy. I'll call you after the fact, and we'll talk offline, and we'll make that happen. And look forward to talking to everybody again. It's been a while.
All right. Well, welcome back from the tour. I can't wait to hear more about it.
All right.
Take care, Jeff.
Everyone, everybody.
All right. Thanks, man. Jeff has the ultimate gift to gab. You think D26 can talk? Jeff can talk for hours and hours. And yeah, we will do that stream. And this must be the museum he was talking about. That is pretty crazy roof. Hold on. We have one more gentleman who's been waiting in the back room. I want to let him get on. And then I do have to get off. So what's up, Real Talk? You always got great things to say. What's on your mind?
Well, first off, yesterday with the whole Marco situation, I don't know if anyone caught the tail end of Marco on Chaotic's panel, but it was the most telling environment you could possibly be in. Marco was starting to break down all the Boule connections and how Boule was Chaotic's granddad, and they literally sniped his mic. Marco was transported to Mars. It was Marco reporting from Mars. They literally fucked with his mic on StreamYards. So that means Chaotic literally has a goon in the back of StreamYards, and they can literally nuke someone's mic.
They couldn't get my, well, I tried to come on and respond yesterday, and my mic wasn't working either, which is weird.
Yeah, no, they literally, as soon as he started to heavily get into the Masonic ties, they sniped his mic, and it was like, I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was ironic, of course, but let's kind of talk about the absolute mindset, because you always bring up that with the, short bus riders. And I've started to realize when it comes to this gematria, the reason in which they can't grasp it is they need absolutely everything to be in absolutes. It's as if you show one number, they expect that number to be ridden out to the absolute end of the
Well,
ritual.
hold on. Let's rewind, though. This is because they're short bus riders, because their mind can't even fathom how that's impossible. Just like the other day, one of them was like, well, how come if you can see all this about the 44 and his shooting, you weren't able to predict it? It's like, think about the logistics of keeping track of every Fortune 500 CEO in the world. I mean, just like impossible expectations are things that you'll find in short bus riders, that their minds are not logical. And so, but go ahead.
This technique is actually used by the cluster B personality disorder. They have to think in absolutes because it's black or white thinking, all or nothing. This side versus that side, and it's known as splitting. It's what the narcissist does in their mind whenever they feel some sort of threat. They become all good, and then the threat, which is the truth in this case, becomes all bad. So essentially, every idiot you've ever talked to on Chaotic Tooth, I love to troll the guy, but every idiot you've talked to on his panel, they want to see the ritual stacked. The numbers must be stacked. And it's like, wait a second. Do you honestly think that the people who have never written these things down for unseeing eyes, who would never put it in a book, who just, spoke it from word of mouth to word of mouth, you're telling me that these people are going to concoct a conspiracy in an absolute lens just so retards like you can follow it? And that's the whole thing. They expect the conspirators to have it in a way for them to follow in their absolute narked out thinking mind, their short bus reader mind. It's like, who the fuck are you? For people like, who I'm using, Heinz Kissinger, who are you, a useless eater? Kissinger called everyone useless fucking eaters because let's be honest, at this point, 99.9% mostly are. And it's just like, you're no one to Kissinger, even though Kissinger was a pawn. At the end of the day, he's not going to unravel the plan in a storybook, a pop-up storybook for you retards to read. You actually have to do research. You actually have to turn on the abstract part of your brains, if it exists, and do some real thinking. These people aren't capable of thinking. They think. They're like, we've already gone over this, but like, it never sank in till I observed enough of their questions and their little retarded tangents that they would go on to try to discredit. That's all
Well,
it
it's
is.
also literally like they don't listen either, because they're constantly asking the same questions. I've seen about 5 or 6 different people go on and say the same thing, and every time CD's like, "Whoo!" Like he's heard it for the first time. It's like, dude, that's like the 5th or 6th person that said that exact thing, and every time you act like you never heard it before. Yeah, there's just so many things that are wrong with them.
And the problem is, there's always at least 2 or 3 people on that panel to make sure that whatever you're saying specifically, the point can never be completed.
Because they're interrupting?
It's as if he has staged interruptions, and there's always some stooge at the end. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but that absolute thought process and them expecting those who are ruling over us to break it out in a storybook for a child, it infuriates me. It really like gets me so angry to the point. It's like, who do you like? Is your grandiosity from this narcissism or this cluster B, whether you're borderline or a narcissist, is your grandiosity so great that you can't see how fucking retarded you are? Yes. You think the Dunning-Kruger is so strong in these people that they think they're so intelligent, but they don't have any abstract, objective, truth-based identifiers. They don't have like when we see bullshit, it's like the spidey sense is tingling. If you don't have that within your purview, your mental landscape to be able to see bullshit and call it out with abstract logic reasoning, you're fucked. You know, like you're going to be ruled over, and all the people who want to call shots at anything that you choose to do with your hard-earned money, that's a fucking joke. There's too many sideline haters trying to go through someone's pockets, and it's like the amount of time that you put in is ridiculous.
Well, and the other thing is, I put a
ridiculous.
lot back in the community. I have a huge receipt bill for the last 5-6 years of hosting that website that's never done what I hoped it would do. And again, we have been very generous with giveaways. And I mean, who else puts out their work for free? I always make my book free to everybody who wants it. And again, now they're getting onto something that we're doing as a family. And not to mention my dad's also helping out a little bit. He has a little bit of retirement money. But no, now you got this troll network looking at that and trying to make it into something it's not. It's like, dude, like, shut up. God.
Your messaging has never changed. Your perspective has never changed. Calling out the retards has never changed. Wanting to retest the pancake theory and has never changed. I mean, your comedy, once, I know it's typically when you're pissed off, but like nothing has changed about you. You know, like things in your personal life may have changed, but the bottom line is this. And I call out the whole narcissist thing. And Professor Sam Vaknin is the premier source. Everyone else on YouTube is speaking from a victimhood weakness perspective. Sam's an actual 2-time diagnosed narcissist. So he's breaking it down, and he wrote the best book on this subject. But if someone were to call you narcissistic or Zach's a narcissist, well, here's the news flash. Let's say you were a narcissist. Why is it that you have an internal construction to succeed? It's because, let's say if you were, I'm not saying you are, I'm not diagnosing you whatsoever, but if you were a narcissist, you would be an overt narcissist, like Hulk Hogan. And what does the overt narcissist internal construction, what is it based off of? Success. What is the covert narc? The little weenies that hang out on Chaotic Stream. What is their internal construction? Failure. The covert narc internal construction is to fail. So if anyone wants to call you narcissistic, at least you can beat your chest in like a silverback gorilla with fucking success and results, proven results. So I'm not saying you are, but if you are one, you're not one of the fucking losers like them.
Well, and here's just the thing too. Narcissists don't care about other people. I've demonstrated numerous times and helped out a lot of people in this world. And again, I know that by definition, I'm not a narcissist. That word gets thrown around way too much. By the way, I'd like you to respond to this critic in the chat. He's a constant critic of mine. He'll call in sometimes. He always likes to leave little chippy comments about everything. Here's this chippy comment about you today. I've never seen him actually target anyone other than me on this channel. So you must be really saying something for him to come after you.
I don't see his comment. Okay.
Here's what he said. He said, this guy is spewing a lot of Sam Bach and researching, trying to make himself seem smart. Thanks for the projection, buddy. How do you respond to that?
Sam, who is Sam Bach?
Yeah,
it's not exactly. Sam Bach. It's Sam Vaknin, Professor Sam Vaknin, who wrote the book Malignant Self-Love, Narcissism Revisited, the first book to ever break out the victimhood perspective of those abused by narcissists. When you get abused by a narcissist, it's not like any other type of abuse. And everyone on YouTube is basically the YouTube algorithm is trying to push you away from Sam Vaknin, because he's telling us this narcissism is a problem, but there's ways to succeed. There's ways for society to operate to where we don't all have to fail. If we keep praising victimhood, it's going to debilitate the society. And it's basically, when you're a victim, you're pretty much saying, my ceiling is this high. I can only achieve this because I'm victimized. I can't fight back. I'm unworthy. There's like all of these mental conditions when someone becomes a victim. And I think Sam Vaknin, his research especially, and everyone, he created a cottage industry. In 95, he was the one telling you to go no contact with a narcissist. And now everybody and their mom on narcissistic abuse is telling you, go no contact. This guy was the pioneer. So if you want to get his name straight, it's Professor Sam Vaknin. It's not Sam Bach. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, buddy. You're another.
I'm just gonna say something. That guy who's being chippy and like that, he's actually an intelligent guy himself. I don't know what his problem is. It's like he has to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm guessing he's getting a little bit jealous, thinking he should be up here, still in the spotlight. But yeah, that guy. I don't know what your deal is. Like, just
And what you said about caring for people. When I went and I met you on that street corner in Seattle, and I told you what happened in my life, I could just tell from your reaction the level of empathy. You were thinking about yourself in my shoes and like, how shitty of a situation would it be like if I came up to this guy and just told him everything that just happened. So it's just like when you actually have a life-altering event and you interact with someone in the near future after that, which I interacted with Zach maybe 3 weeks after the life-altering event, and you can tell just his camaraderie and his personality while we were dealing with a Google agent on the streets who got your
boombox.
Yeah, with the boombox. And as soon as I got out of that taxi, I like chopped it up with you for a second. You told me, hey man, they took my streams down, and I'm thinking, what the hell? And then I seen that little fucker with that curvy nose, and I made fun of his nose shape, and he didn't like that. I said, he's an agent. And as soon as I said that to you, your eyes lit up like fucking Christmas, because you knew right there and then this piece of shit was playing mainstream music to get my streams flagged.
Yeah, he came up right next to the boombox. I can't remember if that was the first or second time, but then he changed outfits and came back and did it to us again later. So
yeah, that was quite a day, man. But I know you got to get out of here. I got no beef with the guy in the chat. If he wants to ever talk about a narcissism and the cluster B personality, I think it's valuable information for everyone to understand, because they are deploying this technique. They're victimizing people in their youths. They're creating hardships in households so that people are being raised in tough environments. And then those children become adults. And then we are dealing with adults who act like children, whose maturity ended when the abuse started. So this cluster B, I think, is the mechanism that they're using to rule over everybody, because if everyone's thinking in absolutes, and then you have this very small minority thinking abstractly on this side, it's near impossible for us to break through, because we are being drowned out by a bunch of absolute thinking short bus riders. And it takes the wind out of your sails, but there's always more fight in our tanks because we have purpose. These people's only purpose is to get in the way. But I'm going to digress, man. I appreciate your time like always. But yeah, Marco getting sniped as soon as he broke down the Boulay shit was, I didn't want to laugh, but I'm like, man, this is YouTube. This is ScrewTube.
Well, that's good to hear that Marco finally contributed something worthwhile. We've been waiting. So, all right. Thank you, Real Talk. Appreciate it, man. All right. Truth Does Not Exist wants to hop off, and Hood said SB. I'm overtime, so we got to be real quick. What's up?
Okay, I'm gonna be quick. So about the CEO story, they said right when this first happened, the New York Police Department said that he used a B&T Station 6. It's a type of suppressed handgun. B&T Station 6 equals 46, just like execution. When they found his backpack, they said it had Monopoly money in it. Monopoly equals 44, like kill and execution. And he killed an insurance CEO. Insurance equals 58, just like CEO equals 58.
And again, it was in the building where Trump was the night of the 58th election.
Yeah, exactly.
And that CEO's full name does equal 271, the 58th prime too.
Yeah, total story. And what they're probably going to do is make 3D printed guns illegal, because right now they are legal, but you can have one. I have a Glock 19 that I 3D printed. So they're probably going to make that illegal, because that thing cost me $200, and it doesn't have a serial number. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to say real quick was I got this book from a library. It's a Masonic book. It's called The Craft and Its Symbols, and it's about the Freemason symbols. This is a book written by Freemasons for other Freemasons. These books are not cheap, but what I realized is that this whole book, and I have a stack of other books also. I guess some Freemason got
Put
rid
it
of
back
them.
up real quick. Put it back up because I want to be able to see how that thing's very similar to the Google, similar to the
Gmail.
Google logo.
The Gmail logo, and they also put this logo in red too, and you can see them with the red aprons, and it even has the red outline on the middle. You look at the Gmail logo, it's exactly the same. Also, the iOS App Store, I think, was a compass and square, if I remember correctly. But this book is full of what the symbols mean, but it's also full of gematria. Like if you look at the title of the book, so this book talks a lot about geometry and the importance of it in Freemasonry. It says that the G in Freemasonry is symbolic of geometry. That's the main.
Of course, I mean there are symbols, instruments of geometry, a square and a compass.
Yeah, that's the main thing that they worship. So the title is The Craft and Its Symbols, which equals 314, like pi. And it's also it's written by someone named Alan E. Roberts, which equals 56 and 79. Just the word Roberts, the last name, which Freemasons usually tend to code the names of their names. Roberts equals 47. You know, like the 47th problem of Euclid, which of course this book talks a lot about. And it said that it was made in Richmond, Virginia, which Richmond equals 42, like Freemason. It also talks a lot about deities, and it talks about the sun. Sun equals 27, deity equals 27. It says that their God, that how it references God is the great architect of the universe, which equals 149, like skull and bones. Also, just the word architect equals 42, like Freemason. But this book also talks about. Let me pull up the page.
The word craft is 33, like masonry, like magic, and definitely talked about that. For people who haven't read my first book, the first 100 pages gets into a lot of this stuff. But go ahead.
So something else that it says interesting in you know what else? You want to guess what year this book was copyrighted? I'll give you a hint. It's in the 70s.
78?
74?
74 would make the most sense, right? Masonic 74. Yeah, that makes sense.
It talks about so this is where the altar where they pray at. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
So they have the 3 candles, and it says that the reason why it's 3 candles is because the 3 candles represents the triangle, which is the most important shape. They say that,
which is what the 47 problem Euclid's about.
Yeah, they say that the whole universe.
B squared equals C squared.
The whole universe is made of triangles. Now, the interesting thing about that is that if you look at like any 3D animation or video games or any of this digital stuff, any digital simulations, the whole digital world is made out of polygons, which are a triangle, the three-pointed shape, and they add all these triangles together to make the 3D image. So it's interesting also with, we know Zuckerberg has been doing a lot, is, a huge Freemason, and he wants to do the virtual reality. You put on a virtual reality, everything's made out of triangles. They worship triangles, even though there's I think cubes are better than triangles. They still use triangles for some reason.
Here, we can talk more about this later. I do got to get off, but I like it. I like it. Yeah, do a video on that book. You should do a video on your own channel on that book with the mic somebody got you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Take care. All right, we got one more person in the room. Again, I got to hurry up, but we got Hood SBE that wanted to get in. Hood SBE.
What's up? Peace,
what's
peace. Yeah, I'm gonna make it short, man. I got to second what the gentleman before me and what Real Talk said, man. Like, shout out to Real Talk. That's why we got the Kissinger avatar, because we be trolling people with that. But it's a matter of recognizing who's a fucking idiot and who's not, and then should we waste our time with these people? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been on Chaotic twice. I even showed my face on there. So Ain't nobody hiding from nothing. It's just that these individuals are so beneath what you're trying to do and what individuals like us are trying to do, that it's almost a brain drain event where you have a sort of death, a metaphysical death, when you engage with these people, man, because they're just fucking stupid, or they're agents. There's only two options. There's only two options, because what that dude did with the Boule piece, I've covered that too, since I'm in the black community, because I am black. I know exactly what that gentleman was saying when he broke down the Boule, because these individuals have been plaguing our people for 200 plus years, and they're all connected to Masonry, all connected to different secret cabals and whatnot. There's a bunch of numerology in that. There's a bunch of gematria in that. And if people don't understand that history, they're not going to see why we bring these things up, why you bring some of the things you bring up. And it's just sad and pathetic that individuals who play, the midwits who play at intelligence, can't seem to grasp this stuff. That's why we just got to leave them alone or clown them, or, when we engage with them, it's just for entertainment purposes only. I don't want to belabor the time or take the point away, So I'm going to leave you at that, Zach. Appreciate
Well,
you.
I appreciate it. I know you're correct. Again, I said the only reason I continue to even mess with that channel is because I know there's some people in that audience that are coming over here when we do go on and present information. But yeah, the panel is a brain drain, to say the least.
Yeah, it is. And it's just controlled op for the most part. You can glean some people, but the majority of this shit is fucking controlled op, because if you bring up anything of substance, you get shut down, you get muted, you get kicked off the panel. They shout you down with a bunch of useless, rudimentary factoids, quote unquote, and it just becomes a slog. It becomes a bog, literally, a fetid mire of death and retardation. So, as long as you come in there with a message and you're able to get out, like for instance, the Inuits and the Eskimos, they use snowshoes and whatnot to walk across the snow without falling in. As long as you got your snowshoes on, you can walk back out. So that's all I got to say. Appreciate you, and salute to you and your fam, bro.
Appreciate that. You have a good day. Thank you very much. All right, if you guys got here late, the topic of the video is where we began, the Luigi Mangione story, and you guys are going to want to rewind to the beginning of the video. We covered all the news, this big story and everything else buzzing right now. Daniel, Penny, Jay-Z, everything. It was all covered in this stream, but then we opened it up and we got a little bit off topic. But yeah, just again, I mean, even without the gematria, we've been telling you from day one, this is pointing to Trump and the inauguration, and now he gets arrested at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania where Trump served French fries. I mean, it's embarrassing, you guys. And King Richard did call in later in the stream with some great finds to add to it. I'll go back to my post and add a lot of the information provided, but I do got to hop off right now. So thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. Thank you to everyone who helps get out the word. And for all the people from CT panel that hang around here, what you guys should actually do is, like, since you guys are on there streaming for 12 hours a day, why not take the time to go through one of these videos and let's see how you debunk it? Well, can you guys come up with better arguments than like going through and going, I don't believe it, numerology? Well, those aren't arguments. Those are things that might resonate with other idiots, but those aren't arguments. Debunk it. You can't. Until next time, True Seeker.